During a video conference with investors, a sterile millionaire receives a call that paralyzes everything around him. On the other side of the line, a childish voice cries, "Daddy, Mommy fainted and we have no food." The name mentioned belongs to the woman he abandoned years ago, and the child might be his daughter. What seemed impossible becomes reality, and this man's life will be turned upside down by a simple phone call. The Seattle skyline glittered beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows of Westbrook Tech's penthouse conference room. Nathan Westbrook stood at the head of the glass table, his tailored navy suit as impeccable as the presentation displayed on the screen behind him. The 40 investors attending the video conference represented the elite of Silicon Valley, New York, and international markets, exactly the audience Nathan needed for his company's most ambitious expansion yet. The AI-driven healthcare solution we're proposing isn't just innovative, Nathan said, his deep voice resonating with practiced confidence. It's revolutionary. Our projections indicate a 300% return on investment within the first 36 months, with market penetration across 17 countries. Nathan clicked to the next slide, showcasing graphs that pointed steadily upward. At 38, he had built Westbrook Tech from a small startup in his garage to a company valued at over $2 billion. His personal net worth had recently crossed the $500 million mark. The financial press called him Seattle's golden boy, the tech industry's most eligible bachelor with the Midas touch. What nobody knew, what he had confided only to his doctor and his attorney, was that Nathan's success had come at a personal cost. The medical condition diagnosed in his 20s had rendered him permanently sterile. The doctors had been unanimous. He would never father children. That knowledge had shaped every relationship since, including the one that had nearly broken him 6 years ago. "Mr. Westbrook," interrupted Sheila Donovan, a key investor from Boston, "these projections assume regulatory approval by the third quarter. Given the FDA's recent scrutiny of AI applications in healthcare, isn't that optimistic?" Nathan smiled, prepared for this question. "Fair point, Ms. Donovan. If you'll look at Appendix C..." His phone vibrated against the table. Once, twice, 3 times. Nathan glanced down, an unknown number. He silenced it without breaking his stride. Appendix C outlines our regulatory strategy, including the preliminary discussions we've already had with... The phone vibrated again. 4 calls in less than a minute. Victoria, his executive assistant, would never interrupt unless it was critical. Something was wrong. "Excuse me one moment," Nathan said, maintaining his composure. "Robert, would you take over slide 16? His CFO smoothly stepped in as Nathan stepped back, bringing the phone to his ear. "This is Nathan Westbrook." Static crackled on the line. Then a small, trembling voice came through. "Papai," Nathan frowned. "I think you have the wrong number." A hiccuping sob. "Papai, Mama won't wake up. I'm hungry and scared." The voice belonged to a young child, a little girl. Something about the word she used, papai, tugged at Nathan's memory. Portuguese. His ex-girlfriend Emily had been half Brazilian, often slipping Portuguese words into conversation when emotional. "I'm sorry, who is this?" Nathan asked, turning toward the window away from the conference table. "It's Lily," the tiny voice said. "Mama said if something bad happened, I should press the star button on her phone. She said it would call my papai." Nathan's blood ran cold. Emily had starred his number in her contacts, but this couldn't be happening. It wasn't possible. "Lily, how old are you?" he asked, his voice dropping to a whisper. "I'm 5, the child responded. "My birthday was last month. Mama made me a cake even though we didn't have money for candles." 5 years, 6 years, since he'd ended things with Emily. The timing aligned perfectly with a child conceived just before their breakup. But the doctors had been certain. Multiple specialists had confirmed his condition. "Where's your mama now, Lily?" "On the floor. She was sewing, and then she fell. I tried to give her water, but she won't drink it. Please help us, Papai." "We don't have any food." The conference room seemed to tilt around Nathan. Through the glass walls, he could see Robert smoothly handling questions, buying him time. But time had suddenly become something different. Not money, not business cycles, but the 5 years of a child's life. a child who was calling him father. "Lily, can you tell me where you live?" The little girl gave an address in Rainier Valley, one of Seattle's poorest neighborhoods, less than 30 minutes from his downtown penthouse, but worlds apart. "Okay, Lily, listen carefully. I want you to sit next to your mama. Talk to her, hold her hand. I'm going to send help right away, and I'll be there. Very soon. Can you do that for me?" "Yes," she whispered. "Are you really my papai? Mama has your picture." Nathan's throat constricted. "I'm coming, Lily. Stay on the phone with me." He gestured urgently to Victoria, who immediately approached. "Call 911, he whispered, covering the mouthpiece. "Medical emergency at this address. Then get my car ready. Cancel everything else today." Victoria's eyes widened, but she nodded and moved swiftly to execute his instructions. "Mr. Westbrook," Robert called from the conference table, "the investors are asking about the development timeline." Nathan looked at the room full of wealthy investors, laptops open, millions of dollars hanging on his next words. 6 years ago, he had chosen this world over Emily, convinced that without the possibility of children, his legacy would be built in boardrooms, not living rooms. "Lily, I need to do one thing quickly. Then I'll stay on the phone with you until help arrives." "Just 1 minute." Nathan lowered the phone and addressed the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize, but I have a family emergency that requires my immediate attention. Robert will continue the presentation, and Victoria will reschedule individual follow-ups for anyone with remaining questions." Murmurs rippled through the conference room. Nathan Westbrook had never mentioned family. His whole persona was built on being the lone wolf entrepreneur who worked 20-hour days because he had nothing else in his life. "But we flew in specifically to hear from you," objected an investor from Dubai. "I understand and I apologize," Nathan said, already moving toward the door. "This is a matter of life and death." As he stepped into the elevator, Nathan raised the phone again. "Lily, I'm here. Tell me about your mama. What's her name?" "Emily Turner," the child said. "She makes pretty dresses and fixes clothes for people. But she's been very tired. She didn't eat her food yesterday, so I could have it." "Emily." The confirmation sent another shockwave through Nathan. The woman he'd once loved had been starving herself to feed their child, a child he hadn't known existed. The elevator doors opened, and Nathan strode through the lobby of his building. His driver was already waiting with the car door open. "Rainier Valley," Nathan instructed. "Fast as you can, but safely." Back to the phone. "Lily, can you hear sirens yet? I sent an ambulance to help your mama." "I don't hear anything," she said. "Papai, I'm scared." "I know, sweetheart. I'm on my way. Tell me about yourself. Do you go to school?" "Not real school. Mama teaches me at home. I know how to read and count to 100, and I can draw really good. Mama says I'm an artist." Nathan closed his eyes, imagining a little girl who might have his analytical mind and Emily's creative spirit. The car sped through downtown Seattle, heading toward the southern neighborhoods. "That's wonderful, Lily. I'd love to see your drawings." "I have one of you," she said softly. "Mama showed me your picture, and I made you in my drawing. We're holding hands." Something broke inside Nathan's chest, a wall he had carefully constructed after the doctors had delivered their verdict years ago. He had convinced himself that focusing solely on business was a rational choice for someone who could never have a family. Now, in the space of 10 minutes, that entire narrative had collapsed. "I can't wait to see it," he managed to say. As the car navigated through increasingly run-down streets, Nathan's mind raced. If Lily was truly his daughter, how was it possible? The medical evidence had been conclusive, and if she was his, why hadn't Emily told him about the pregnancy? She had simply disappeared from his life after their breakup. No calls, no messages. Except, that wasn't entirely true. Victoria had mentioned, several months after the breakup, that Emily had come by the office a few times but hadn't left any message. Nathan had assumed she wanted to reconcile and had instructed security not to let her in if she returned. Had she been trying to tell him about the pregnancy? "I see flashing lights," Lily exclaimed suddenly. "There are people at the door." "That's good, Lily. Those are the helpers I sent. Let them in, okay? They'll take care of your mama." "Should I bring my backpack?" Mama says always bring the important things if we have to leave quickly. Nathan's heart twisted at the implication that Emily and Lily lived with such insecurity that they needed to be ready to flee at a moment's notice. Yes, get your backpack and anything special you want to bring. I'll be there very soon. The car turned onto a street lined with dilapidated apartment buildings. Even from the outside, Nathan could see the ambulance and a small crowd gathering. As they pulled up, paramedics were already wheeling a stretcher out of one of the buildings. On it lay Emily, thinner than he remembered, her once vibrant face now hollow and pale. And clutching her hand, tiny and frightened, walked a little girl with a purple backpack. A little girl with Nathan's dark hair and Emily's delicate features. "Stop the car," Nathan said hoarsely. As he stepped out onto the cracked sidewalk, the little girl looked up. Their eyes met, the same deep blue eyes that stared back at Nathan from his own mirror every morning. "Lily," he whispered, as the world he thought he knew crumbled around him. The emergency room buzzed with fluorescent efficiency as Nathan paced the waiting area. Every few minutes he glanced toward the small figure huddled in a chair nearby, clutching her purple backpack like a life preserver. Lily hadn't spoken since they'd arrived at the hospital, her wide blue eyes tracking every doctor and nurse. Who passed by? Mr. Westbrook, a doctor in light blue scrubs, approached. "I'm Dr. Martinez. Could we speak privately?" Nathan hesitated, looking at Lily. "I'll be right over there where you can see me," he told her gently. "Is that okay?" Lily nodded once, her knuckles white against the worn fabric of her backpack. Nathan followed Dr. Martinez a short distance away, still maintaining visual contact with the child who had turned his world upside down in the span of a single phone call. "Miss Turner is suffering from severe malnutrition and anemia," the doctor explained in a low voice. "Her body is depleted of essential nutrients, and she's showing signs of prolonged caloric deficit. Simply put, she's been starving herself. Given the calluses on her fingers and the state of her hands, I'd say she's been working extremely hard physically while not eating nearly enough." Nathan felt sick. "Will she be all right?" "With proper nutrition and rest, yes. We're giving her fluids and nutrients intravenously now. She regained consciousness briefly, but was too weak to stay awake. She did ask about her daughter." "And what did you tell her?" "That the child is safe with her father." Dr. Martinez studied Nathan's face. "You are the father, correct? The little girl called you Papai." Nathan faltered. "Biologically, it shouldn't be possible. I was diagnosed with complete sterility years ago. Multiple specialists confirmed it." Dr. Martinez raised an eyebrow. "Medicine isn't always absolute, Mr. Westbrook. There are documented cases of men with similar diagnoses fathering children, rare but not impossible. How long will Emily need to stay?" "At least a few days. She's severely undernourished, and we need to monitor her closely as we reintroduce proper nutrition." "Does the child have somewhere to stay? Family services can—" "No," Nathan interrupted firmly. "Lily stays with me." The words surprised him as much as they did the doctor. An hour ago, he'd been pitching a multi-million-dollar expansion to investors. Now he was claiming responsibility for a 5-year-old he'd just met, a child who, by all medical logic, couldn't exist. "Very well," Dr. Martinez said. "Miss Turner should be moved to a room shortly. You can see her then, though she'll likely be asleep. I suggest you take the child to get something to eat in the meantime. From what we can tell, they've both been without food for at least a day." Nathan thanked the doctor and returned to Lily, kneeling to meet her at eye level. "Your mama is going to be okay," he said softly. "The doctors are giving her medicine to help her get strong again. She needs to stay here for a few days to rest." Lily's lower lip trembled. "Can I see her?" "Soon. Right now she's sleeping. Are you hungry? We could get something to eat while we wait." The child's eyes widened and she nodded vigorously. "What would you like? Anything you want?" Lily looked confused by the question, as if no one had ever asked for her preference before. "Chicken nuggets," she said tentatively, as if expecting to be denied. "Chicken nuggets it is," Nathan smiled, offering his hand. Lily hesitated, then slipped her tiny hand into his. The contact sent a jolt through Nathan's chest, a fierce protective surge unlike anything he'd felt before. The hospital cafeteria was half empty when they arrived. Nathan watched in silent heartbreak as Lily devoured her food with the intensity of someone unaccustomed to regular meals. She ate methodically, taking careful sips of her milk between bites, occasionally glancing up as if to ensure he was still there. "Lily," he said gently when she'd finished, "can I ask you some questions about you and your mama?" She nodded, wiping her mouth with a napkin. "Has your mama ever told you about me?" "She said my papai was a very important man who lived in a tall building. She has your picture next to her bed. Sometimes she cries when she looks at it." Nathan swallowed hard. "Did she ever try to call me or find me?" "Mama said she tried when I was in her tummy, but the people at your building wouldn't let her talk. To you, she wrote letters too, but you never answered, so she said we had to be brave, just us two." Each word was a dagger. Nathan remembered the instructions he'd given security after their breakup. No exceptions, no messages from Emily Turner. He had been so determined to move forward, to bury himself in work, rather than confront the pain of their separation. "I didn't know about you, Lily," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "I wish I had. I would have helped you and your mama." Lily studied him with an intensity that belied her 5 years. "Are you going to help us now?" "Yes," Nathan replied without hesitation. "I promise." A nurse approached their table. "Mr. Westbrook, Ms. Turner has been moved to room 412. She's awake and asking for her daughter." Lily slid off her chair immediately, clutching her backpack. The elevator ride to the 4th floor was silent. Nathan tried to prepare himself for seeing Emily conscious, for the anger she surely harbored after years of raising their child alone in poverty. What could he possibly say to make up for such an absence? Room 412 was private. Nathan had made sure of that, throwing his name and influence around in a way he rarely did. Emily lay propped against pillows, an IV in her arm, her once vibrant chestnut hair dull against the white hospital linens. "Mama." Lily broke free from Nathan and rushed to the bedside. Emily's face, thinner and more worn than Nathan remembered, transformed with a tired smile. "There's my brave girl," she whispered, stroking Lily's hair. Then her eyes lifted to Nathan, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop 20 degrees. "You actually came," she said, her voice flat. "Emily." Nathan stepped forward, the weight of 6 lost years hanging between them. "I had no idea. I swear to you, I never knew about Lily." "I tried to tell you," she replied, each word precise and controlled. 17 times I came to your building. I wrote letters. I called your office until they blocked my number. I never got the messages. I had instructed my staff." He trailed off, realizing how hollow it sounded. "There's no excuse. I should have at least heard what you had to say." Emily's gaze remained cold. "It doesn't matter now. We've managed for 5 years without you." "Managed?" Nathan couldn't keep the edge from his voice. "You collapsed from starvation." Lily said, "You hadn't eaten in days." A flash of shame crossed Emily's face as she looked at her daughter. "It was just temporary. I had a big order due, and the client hasn't paid yet. We would have been fine by next week." "You were starving yourself to feed our daughter." Emily flinched at the word "our," but didn't contradict him. Instead, she turned to Lily. "Sweetheart, can you show the nurse your drawings in the waiting area for a few minutes? Mama needs to talk to your father." Lily looked reluctant, but a nurse who had been checking Emily's vitals offered her hand. "I love drawings. Would you show me?" Once Lily had left, the pretense of civility evaporated from Emily's face. "What do you want, Nathan? Money? I don't want your charity." "I want to help my daughter and her mother. Why is that so hard to accept?" "Because you made your choice 6 years ago," Emily shot back, though the effort clearly drained her. "You chose your precious company over our relationship. You couldn't even give me 5 minutes to tell you I was pregnant." "Because I thought it was impossible." Nathan ran a hand through his hair in frustration. "The doctors told me I could never have children. 3 specialists confirmed it." Emily's expression faltered. "What?" "I was diagnosed with complete sterility in my 20s, Emily. It's why I ended things with us. I knew how much you wanted children, and I couldn't give you that. You broke up with me because you thought you couldn't have children?" Emily stared at him in disbelief. You never even told me about this diagnosis. I couldn't face it, Nathan admitted. Couldn't face your disappointment. It seemed easier to let you go, to focus on building something else instead of the family I could never have. Emily closed her eyes, processing this new information. So when I tried to tell you about the pregnancy, I assumed it was an attempt to reconcile, or worse. He couldn't finish the thought. You thought I was lying to trap you? Emily's voice rose, then broke as a coughing fit seized her. Nathan poured water from the bedside pitcher and helped her drink. The simple act of caring for her, touching her arm, supporting her head, brought back a flood of memories. They had once been so close, so certain of their future together. I ordered a paternity test, Nathan said after she had settled. The hospital is running it now, though looking at Lily, I don't really need science to tell me what I can see, with my own eyes. Emily sighed, fatigue evident in every line of her face. She has your eyes, your analytical mind too. She's always figuring things out, solving little puzzles. Why didn't you try harder to reach me once she was born? You could have gone to the press, hired a lawyer. With what money, Nathan? Emily interrupted bitterly. I was a single mother with no family support, working 3 jobs just to keep a roof over our heads. Every spare dollar went to Lily's needs. And honestly, after a while, I didn't want you in our lives. I convinced myself we were better off without a man who could dismiss me so easily. The truth of her words stung, but Nathan couldn't deny them. I've made terrible mistakes, he acknowledged, but I want to make things right. Let me help you both now. Emily studied him, her expression guarded. And what does that mean exactly? It means proper medical care for you, a safe place to live, good food, education for Lily, whatever you both need. And in return, the chance to know my daughter, Nathan said simply, the opportunity to be her father. Emily's eyes filled with tears she seemed determined not to shed. Just like that? You think you can walk into her life after 5 years and claim fatherhood? No, Nathan said. I know it won't be easy. I know I'll have to earn her trust and yours, but I want to try, Emily. Please let me try. A nurse appeared in the doorway. Ms. Turner needs to rest now, and there's a little girl out here very concerned about her mama. Emily wiped her eyes quickly as Lily returned, climbing carefully onto the edge of the hospital bed. Mama, I showed the nurse my drawings of the Princess Castle. She said I'm very talented. You are, my love, Emily stroked her daughter's hair. Mr. Westbrook, the nurse addressed Nathan, visiting hours end at 8. The child will need somewhere to stay tonight. Nathan looked at Emily, a question in his eyes. My apartment keys are in my purse, Emily said after a long moment. You can take Lily to get her things. She turned to her daughter. Sweetheart, you're going to stay with your father for a few days while Mama gets better. Is that okay? Lily looked uncertainly between them. Will you come too when you're better? Emily's eyes met Nathan's over their daughter's head. We'll figure everything out then, I promise. As Nathan and Lily prepared to leave, Emily called him back. Nathan. Her voice was quieter now, exhaustion evident. The conditions at my apartment, just prepare yourself. He nodded, understanding what she couldn't say in front of Lily. If their living situation was anything like Emily's physical state, he needed to brace himself for what he would find. I'll bring Lily back to visit tomorrow, he promised. Get some rest. Outside in the hospital corridor, Lily slipped her hand into his again, this time without hesitation. Are we going home now? First to your apartment to get your things, Nathan explained, then to my home. Would that be okay? Lily nodded solemnly. Mama says we have to be polite when someone helps us. The innocent comment revealed volumes about their life, the pride Emily had maintained despite their circumstances, teaching dignity even in need. As they walked toward the elevator, Lily looked up at him. Do you have food at your house? The question broke Nathan's heart all over again. Yes, Lily, I have plenty of food. And from now on, you and your mama will never be hungry again. That's a promise. The elevator doors closed on the hospital corridor, symbolically separating the past from whatever uncertain future lay ahead. Nathan Westbrook, who had built an empire on statistical certainties and calculated risks, was stepping into the most unpredictable challenge of his life: fatherhood to a child who, by all medical accounts, shouldn't exist. The apartment building on Rainier Avenue South stood like a tired sentinel, its brick facade crumbling in places, windows patched with duct tape. Nathan's driver pulled the sleek black sedan to the curb, looking uncertain. "Wait here," Nathan instructed him. "We won't be long." The building's security door hung askew on its hinges. The elevator had an out-of-order sign that looked permanent. Nathan followed Lily up 3 flights of stairs, the walls around them covered in graffiti and peeling paint. "We're in 3C, Lily said, leading the way with the confidence of routine. "Mama says not to make noise in the hallway because Mr. Peterson works nights and sleeps during the day." They passed 3A and 3B, both doors reinforced with extra locks. At 3C, Lily produced a key from her purple backpack, attached to a faded unicorn keychain. "Mama taught me how to use the key by myself," she explained proudly, "in case she has to work late." The lock turned with difficulty, and Lily pushed. The door opened to reveal a studio apartment, no larger than Nathan's walk-in closet. A mattress on the floor occupied one corner, neatly made with threadbare sheets. A small table with 2 mismatched chairs stood under the room's single window. In another corner, a hot plate, mini refrigerator, and plastic storage bins created a makeshift kitchen. What struck Nathan most was the cleanliness. Despite the poverty evident in every aspect of the apartment, the space was immaculate, and the walls, every available inch, was covered with Lily's artwork. Vibrant drawings of animals, castles, and people transformed the dingy space into a gallery of childhood imagination. "That's my special drawer," Lily pointed to a plastic storage unit. "Mama says I can keep all my drawings and special things there." Nathan moved through the apartment in a daze, taking in the evidence of Emily's struggle and resourcefulness. Neatly organized bins contained Lily's clothes, all clean but well-worn, many obviously second-hand or mended. A stack of children's books sat beside the mattress, library tags on their spines. The small bathroom revealed more of their daily reality: shampoo bottles diluted with water to extend their use, a single toothbrush worn to fraying, homemade, cleaning solutions in repurposed containers. "This is Mama's sewing place," Lily said, pointing to a card table in the remaining corner. An ancient sewing machine sat amid piles of fabric scraps and spools of thread. Nearby hung several garments, in various stages of completion, evidence of the work that had consumed Emily's energy while depriving her of nourishment. "Are you rich?" Lily asked suddenly, watching Nathan survey their home. The directness of the question caught him off guard. Yes, I suppose I am." Lily nodded, as if confirming a suspicion. "Mama said you were. She said you live in a big building and have lots of money. Is your house very big?" "It's bigger than this," Nathan answered, uncomfortable with the disparities being laid bare. "Lily, can you show me what you need to pack? We should take enough clothes for several days, and anything special you want to bring." While Lily gathered her belongings, which took heartbreakingly little time, Nathan opened the mini-fridge. As Emily had said, there was no food inside, just a half-empty bottle of ketchup and some tap water in a pitcher. On top of the fridge sat a framed photograph, the only one in the apartment. Nathan picked it up, his throat tightening. It showed him and Emily 6 years ago at Alki Beach, his arm around her shoulders, both of them laughing at something now forgotten. Beside it lay a stack of envelopes bound with a rubber band, letters, addressed to him in Emily's handwriting, all stamped "Return to Sender" or "Addressee Unknown." "I'm ready," Lily announced, her purple backpack now bulging slightly. In her arms, she carried a worn teddy bear missing one eye. "Is that all you want to bring?" Nathan asked, surprised by how little she'd packed. "Mama says we should travel light," Lily replied. Then, with a child's sudden change of topic, "Can I bring my drawings of you?" "Of course." Lily went to the wall and carefully removed several sheets of paper taped there. Nathan's chest tightened as he saw the crayon renditions. A tall figure, with dark hair standing beside a small girl and a woman, all holding hands under a bright yellow sun. In each drawing, the man stood apart, sometimes with a dotted line connecting him to the others, as if Lily had been trying to imagine a connection that might someday exist. As they prepared to leave, Nathan noticed a stack of bills on the table, many stamped "Final Notice." Beside them lay a prescription bottle unfilled. He discreetly photographed them with his phone, determined to address each one. "Is there anything of your mama's we should bring to the hospital?" he asked. "Comfortable. Clothes, maybe." Lily pointed to a small duffel bag hanging on a hook. "That's Mama's hospital bag. She says always be prepared." The implication that Emily had anticipated her eventual collapse sent another wave of guilt through Nathan. Before leaving, he wrote a note and left it on the table. "Emily, I've taken Lily to my condo at 1100 Columbia Street, Penthouse B. When you're released, please join us there. I've paid your rent for the next 6 months and addressed the outstanding bills. This isn't charity. It's my responsibility as Lily's father. We have much to discuss when you're stronger. Nathan." He added his personal cell number, then tucked several $100 bills under the note, enough to remove any immediate financial pressure, but not so much as to overwhelm Emily's pride. "Ready to go?" he asked Lily, who stood in the doorway, her backpack and teddy bear clutched tightly. She nodded, taking one last look around the apartment that, despite its limitations, was the only home she'd ever known. The drive to downtown Seattle was quiet. Lily's face pressed against the window as skyscrapers replaced rundown apartments. When they pulled into the underground parking of Nathan's building, her eyes widened at the luxury vehicles surrounding them. "Do all these cars belong to you?" she asked. Nathan smiled. "No, they belong to the other people who live in this building. I have just 2 cars. The private elevator required a keycard and fingerprint for access to the penthouse level. As they ascended 30 floors, Lily's grip on her teddy bear tightened. "Is it scary high up?" Nathan asked gently. She nodded. "Mama doesn't like high places. She gets dizzy. You'll be safe, I promise, and you can see the whole city from up there. The Space Needle, the ferries on the water, even Mount Rainier on clear days." The elevator doors opened directly into Nathan's penthouse foyer. Lily froze at the threshold, overwhelmed by the sudden expanse of space and luxury. The penthouse stretched before them, 5,000 square feet of minimalist design, floor to ceiling, windows framing Seattle's skyline and Elliott Bay beyond. "This is all your house?" Lily whispered, not moving from the elevator. "It is," Nathan confirmed. "Would you like to see your room? You can stay there tonight, and tomorrow we can decorate it however you like." He led her through the main living area, past leather, furniture and abstract art that had been selected by his interior designer. Nathan suddenly saw his home through Lily's eyes, beautiful but sterile, without warmth or personality. No photographs adorned the walls, no mementos suggested a life beyond work. The guest bedroom he designated for Lily was similarly impersonal. Cream-colored walls, a queen bed with white linens, and empty built-in bookshelves. Compared to her wall of colorful drawings in the tiny apartment, this room must seem like a blank canvas. "It's very big," Lily said, standing uncertainly in the center of the room. "We'll make it yours," Nathan promised. "Tomorrow we can get paint, furniture, toys, whatever you want." Lily placed her backpack and teddy bear on the enormous bed, looking like a tiny island in a sea of white. "Are you hungry?" Nathan asked. "I can make us dinner." This was a slight overstatement of his culinary abilities. As a bachelor who worked 16-hour days, Nathan rarely used his gourmet kitchen. He lived on takeout, restaurant meals, and the occasional protein shake. The refrigerator, when he opened it, confirmed his limitations: half a carton of eggs, some expired milk, and condiments. The freezer contained only vodka and ice. "I think we need to order food," he admitted. "What would you like? Pizza, Chinese, anything you want?" Lily's eyes widened at the choices. "Can we have macaroni and cheese?" Nathan ordered from an upscale restaurant nearby, requesting emergency delivery of mac and cheese, chicken tenders, fresh fruit, and a selection of breakfast items for morning. He added a substantial tip for the expedited service. While they waited, He showed Lily around the penthouse, realizing as they went how unsuitable it was for a child. Glass tables with sharp corners, open staircases with wide gaps between railings, balconies with low barriers. His bachelor pad was a safety hazard for a 5-year-old. Tomorrow, we'll need to make some changes to make this place safer for A. "Yes," he told her. "It's very clean," Lily observed, running her hand along a polished surface. "Mama would like that. She always makes sure our home is clean even when she's tired." The food arrived, and Nathan set places at his rarely used dining table. He watched as Lily carefully spread her napkin on her lap before eating, another sign of Emily's parenting, despite their circumstances. "This mac and cheese tastes different," Lily commented after a few bites. "Different good or different bad?" "Just different. Mama makes it from the blue box. This has more cheeses." The blue box? Nathan realized she meant the cheapest brand of packaged macaroni, and cheese probably a staple in their diet. This gourmet version with aged cheddar, Gruyere and truffle oil must seem alien to her. After dinner, Nathan faced the unfamiliar challenge of a child's bedtime routine. "Do you usually take a bath before bed?" he asked. Lily nodded. "On Tuesdays and Fridays. Today is Tuesday." The bathing schedule, clearly designed to conserve hot water and money, was another stark reminder of the life she'd been living. "Here, you can take a bath every day if you want," Nathan told her, leading her to the guest bathroom with its oversized soaking tub. As the water ran, he realized he had no children's soap, shampoo, or bath toys. "Tomorrow we'll get proper bath things for you," he promised. "For tonight, is this okay?" Lily nodded, seeming hesitant about the deep tub. Nathan found a new t-shirt for her to wear as a nightgown, making a mental note to purchase proper pajamas. Once Lily was bathed and dressed for bed, Nathan faced another novel challenge: bedtime rituals. "Does your mama read to you before sleep?" he asked. "She tells me stories," Lily explained. "We don't have lots of books, but she knows many stories in her head." "Would you like me to read to you? I have my tablet. We can find any story you want." Lily's eyes lit up. "Can we read Cinderella? Mama tells it, but I've never seen the pictures." Nathan downloaded an illustrated version of Cinderella, and they settled on the big bed, Lily clutching her one-eyed teddy bear. As he read, he was acutely aware of the parallels. A child living in poverty suddenly transported to a world of luxury. When the story ended, Lily asked in a small voice, "Can we call Mama to say goodnight?" "The hospital said she needs to rest tonight," Nathan explained gently. "But first thing tomorrow we'll go see her, I promise." Tucking Lily into bed, Nathan was struck by how tiny she looked in the massive room. "I'll be just down the hall. If you need anything," he assured her. "Anything at all, you can come get me." "Thank you for the macaroni," Lily said sleepily, "and for helping Mama." Nathan turned on a small lamp, sensing she might be afraid in the dark, unfamiliar room. "Good night, Lily." "Good night, Popeye," she murmured, her eyes already closing. In the hallway, Nathan leaned against the wall, overwhelmed by the day's events. 24 hours ago, he had been a childless bachelor focused solely on his next business conquest. Now he was responsible for a 5-year-old daughter he hadn't known existed. In his office, Nathan opened his laptop and began addressing the practical aspects of this new reality. He transferred money to cover Emily's rent, utility bills, and medical expenses. He emailed his assistant to cancel his meetings for the rest of the week. He contacted a lawyer about establishing legal paternity. Finally, he called Dr. Sarah Chen, the fertility specialist who had confirmed his sterility diagnosis years ago. "Nathan Westbrook," he said when she answered. "I need to see you as soon as possible. Something impossible has happened." "I don't have openings until next month," Dr. Chen began. "I believe I've fathered a child," Nathan interrupted, "despite your diagnosis." There was a long pause. "I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m., she finally said. After hanging up, Nathan poured himself a scotch and stood at the windows overlooking the Seattle skyline. The city lights blurred as exhaustion and emotion caught up with him. A small sound made him turn. Lily stood in the doorway, clutching her teddy bear, tears streaming down her face. "I had a bad dream," she whispered. "I couldn't find Mama." Nathan set down his glass and crossed to her, kneeling at her level. "It's okay, your Mama is safe at the hospital getting better. Can I stay with you?" she asked, her voice small and uncertain. "Just for a little while?" "Of course." Nathan settled on the living room sofa with Lily curled against him, her teddy bear squeezed between them. He stroked her hair gently, remembering how his own father had comforted him after nightmares. "My bear's name is Mr. Button," Lily murmured drowsily. "Mama made him for my birthday when I was 3. "He's a very good bear," Nathan replied, noting the careful stitching despite the worn fabric, another testament to Emily's devotion despite limited resources. "He keeps scary things away," Lily continued, her voice fading as sleep reclaimed her. "Mama said my papai would keep scary things away too if he knew about me." The simple statement held no accusation, just a child's repetition of what she'd been told, but it pierced Nathan's heart more deeply than any recrimination. "I will," he whispered to his sleeping daughter. "From now on, I promise, I will." As Lily's breathing deepened into sleep, Nathan remained awake, holding this miracle child who had materialized from medical impossibility and years of absence. Outside, Seattle continued its nighttime pulse of light and movement, but inside the penthouse something fundamental had shifted. The space that had been a showcase of success now felt hollow without the trappings of real life, without family. Eventually, Nathan carried Lily back to her bed, tucking Mr. Button securely beside her. Then he made calls to contractors, ordering immediate childproofing of the entire penthouse, safety locks, corner protectors, secure railings, all to be installed by morning. His final call was to a high-end children's store, arranging for a designer to bring selections of furniture, clothing, toys, and decorations first thing tomorrow. Money, which had always been his solution to problems, now served a purpose beyond accumulation or status. It would create a safe, comfortable world for Lily, the world she should have had from birth. Nathan didn't sleep that night. Instead, he researched schools, pediatricians, and child development milestones for 5-year-olds. He read articles about single fathers, blended families, and co-parenting after separation. He studied nutrition for children and activities that promoted cognitive development. Dawn found him still at his desk, surrounded by notes and plans, when his phone chimed with a text message from the hospital. Emily was awake and asking for Lily. Their new life, complicated, unexpected, miraculous, was about to take its next uncertain step forward. "Absolutely remarkable," Dr. Sarah Chen said, studying the test results on her tablet. "In my entire career, I've only read about 2 similar cases." Nathan sat across from her in the private consultation room of Seattle fertility specialists, the same room where, 15 years earlier, he had received the diagnosis that shaped his adult life. "So it's confirmed? I'm Lily's biological father?" "Doctor." Chen nodded. "The DNA test leaves no doubt. You share 99.9998% of the genetic markers consistent with paternity. But what makes this case exceptional is that your condition hasn't changed." She pulled up his most recent test results. "You still present with the same azoospermia diagnosis. Your sperm count remains effectively 0. How is that possible?" "Medicine isn't absolute, Nathan. In rare cases, extremely rare, a man with your condition might produce a minimal number of viable sperm. It would take only 1. She leaned forward. "You mentioned the conception would have been about 6 years ago." Nathan nodded, remembering. The last weeks with Emily before their breakup, they had been discussing marriage, a future. The irony wasn't lost on him. He had ended things partly because he believed he couldn't give her the children she wanted. "Around that time, you were taking those experimental supplements for athletic performance, correct? The ones from that startup you were investing in?" "Vitality Plus," Nathan confirmed. "They were supposed to enhance energy and recovery time." Dr. Chen made a note. "Those supplements contained several compounds that in some studies have shown effects on testicular function. It's possible, and I stress this is just a theory, that they temporarily boosted your system enough to produce the 1 in a million sperm that found its target. Nathan tried to process this information. So it was a fluke, a medical anomaly. I prefer miracle, Dr. Chen smiled. But yes, statistically speaking, it was highly improbable. I wouldn't expect it to happen again without significant medical intervention. Nathan barely heard her last statement, his mind still grappling with the confirmation of what his heart had already accepted the moment he saw Lily's eyes, his eyes, looking back at him. "What now?" he asked. "Medically, nothing changes. Your condition remains as it was. But personally," Dr. Chen removed her glasses, "you've been given an extraordinary gift, Nathan. A child you never thought you could have." Nathan thanked her and left the office, checking his watch. Lily was at the hospital with Emily, supervised by Victoria, his executive assistant who had taken the sudden appearance of her boss's daughter with remarkable composure. His phone buzzed with a text from Robert, his CFO, Dubai investors threatening to pull out. "Need you on call ASAP." 6 days ago, Nathan would have immediately returned to the office, working through the night if necessary to save the deal. Now, he texted back, "Handle it. Family emergency still ongoing. Trust your judgment." The response was immediate. "Family emergency. Since when do you have family?" Nathan didn't reply. Instead, he directed his driver to take him to a different appointment, one with Jennifer Hayes, the top family law attorney in Seattle. "The situation is complicated," Nathan explained in her office an hour later. "I never knew about my daughter until this week. Her mother and I have no formal custody arrangement. Obviously, I want to establish my legal rights as Lily's father, but I also want to support Emily's role as her mother." Jennifer Hayes, a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s, made notes as he spoke. "And what is your relationship with Ms. Turner currently?" "Strained," Nathan admitted. "She tried to tell me about the pregnancy, but He paused, the guilt still fresh. "I never received her messages. She's raised Lily alone for 5 years, in difficult circumstances. And now you want to swoop in and take over?" There was no judgment in Hayes' tone, just professional directness. "No," Nathan said firmly. "I want to provide for them both. Emily is a good mother, an incredible mother, given what she's been working with. But they've been living in poverty, literally starving at times. I want Lily to have opportunities, stability, good education, and I want to be part of her life." Hayes studied him. "What are you proposing?" "Shared custody, financial support, a living arrangement that gives Lily access to both parents. And Ms. Turner's wishes." Nathan hesitated. "We haven't discussed details yet. She's still recovering in the hospital, but she's resistant to accepting help from me." "Understandable," Hayes observed. "From her perspective, you abandoned her during pregnancy, whether intentionally or not." "I know," Nathan acknowledged. "I'm trying to make amends." Hayes set down her pen. "Mr. Westbrook, in family court, the best interest of the child is paramount. Given your absence for the first 5 years of Lily's life, plus Ms. Turner's established role as primary caregiver, you would typically be at a disadvantage in a custody battle." "I don't want a battle," Nathan interrupted. "I want an arrangement that works for everyone, especially Lily." "That's refreshing to hear," Hayes noted. "Too often in my practice, I see wealthy fathers using their resources to overwhelm mothers. In court, it rarely results in truly positive outcomes for the children." "I would never do that to Emily," Nathan said firmly. "She's an excellent mother. I just want to be part of the equation now." "Then my advice is to proceed with establishing legal paternity, but approach custody and support discussions collaboratively, not adversarially. Show Ms. Turner that you respect her role and want to enhance, not replace, what she provides for Lily." Nathan left the attorney's office with a clear legal pathway forward, but the emotional terrain remained uncertain. Checking his watch again, he realized he was running late for his meeting with the interior designer at the penthouse. They had less than 2 hours to transform the sterile guest room into a space where a 5-year-old girl would feel at home. By the time Nathan arrived at the hospital that afternoon, his world had been rearranged in more ways than one. The penthouse was now child-proofed, with safety locks on cabinets, protective covers on outlets, and secured railings on the balcony. Lily's room had been transformed with purple walls, her favorite color, according to her drawings, a canopy bed sized for a child, bookshelves filled with children's classics, and a special art corner with professional-grade supplies that would make any young artist envious. He found Emily sitting up in her hospital bed, looking markedly better than the day before. Some color had returned to her cheeks, and her eyes were clearer. Lily sat beside her, showing her a drawing. "I drew Mr. Westbrook's house," she was explaining. "It's way up high and you can see everything." Emily looked up as Nathan entered, her expression guarded. "Lily, would you ask the nurse for some ice water for Mama, the cup at the nurse's station?" Once Lily had left on her mission, Emily spoke. Directly. "Victoria tells me you've transformed your bachelor pad into a children's paradise overnight." "I wanted Lily to feel comfortable," Nathan replied, taking the visitor's chair. "How are you feeling?" "Better," Emily admitted. "The doctor says I can be discharged tomorrow if my blood work continues to improve." She hesitated. "Thank you for taking care of Lily. Victoria says she slept well and seems happy." "She had a nightmare," Nathan said, "about not being able to find you, but otherwise she adapted amazingly well." Emily's expression softened slightly at this information. "She's resilient, she's had to be." "Emily, I got the paternity test results this morning." Nathan leaned forward. "Lily is definitely my biological daughter." "I never doubted that," Emily replied, with an edge to her voice. "I haven't been with anyone else since you." The implication, 6 years of solitude, hung in the air between them. "I also consulted with Dr. Chen about how this was possible, given my diagnosis," Nathan continued. "She thinks it was a medical anomaly, possibly related to supplements I was taking around that time." "A 1 in a million shot," Emily said quietly. "Something like that." Lily returned with a nurse who was helping her carry the ice water. "The nurse says Mama can come home tomorrow if she eats all her food." "That's right," the nurse confirmed. "Ms. Turner is responding well to treatment, but she'll need to continue a high-nutrient diet and take it easy for a few weeks." After the nurse left, Nathan addressed the elephant in the room. "Emily, I'd like you both to stay at my place when you're discharged. There's plenty of room, and you need somewhere comfortable to recover." Emily's jaw tightened. "I have my own home. A 4th-floor walk-up with no elevator, no food, and a mattress on the floor," Nathan countered, then immediately regretted his tone when he saw Emily's face flush with shame. "It's been good enough for us for 5 years," she said, quietly. "I didn't mean—" Nathan began. "Yes, you did," Emily interrupted. "And you're right. It's not adequate, it never was. But it was all I could afford while trying to feed and clothe our daughter on seamstress wages." "Please," Nathan said, modulating his voice, "just until you're fully recovered. The penthouse has a separate guest suite with its own bathroom. You'd have complete privacy when you want it." Lily, who had been following the exchange with solemn attention, suddenly spoke up. "Please come, Mama. Mr. Westbrook has so much food, and the bathtub is really big." Emily's expression softened as she looked at her daughter. "You liked staying there?" Lily nodded enthusiastically. "And he said we could make my room however I want it, with purple." "He did he?" Emily glanced at Nathan, a hint of amusement breaking through her reserve. "You remembered her favorite color?" "I saw it in her drawings," Nathan explained, "the ones on your apartment walls." Something shifted in Emily's expression, perhaps the realization that Nathan had actually paid attention to their living space, to Lily's creations, rather than simply dismissing it with wealthy disdain. "All right," she said after a long moment, "but just until I'm recovered, and I insist on contributing somehow. I won't be a charity case, so you could fix Mr. Westbrook's clothes," Lily suggested pragmatically. "His pants are too long and he has a jacket with a ripped pocket." Nathan and Emily both laughed, the first moment of shared humor between them in 6 years. "I'm sure Mr. Westbrook has tailors for that," Emily said. "Actually," Nathan interjected, "I'd be honored if you'd fix my jacket. If you feel up to it, of course." The next day, Nathan arrived at the hospital with Lily to collect Emily. The discharge process took longer than expected, with detailed instructions about nutrition, supplements, and follow-up appointments. Throughout it all, Emily maintained her dignity and independence, insisting on walking to the car herself despite the doctor's offer of a wheelchair. The drive to the penthouse was quiet, Emily gazing out the window at the city that had been both her home and her adversary for the past 6 years. "Seattle looks different from this view," she finally said. "Which view is that?" Nathan asked. "The view of someone who isn't counting every dollar for bus fare or calculating how far they can walk in worn-out shoes." Nathan didn't have a response to that. The gulf between their experiences over the past 6 years yawned, wider with each revelation. When they arrived at the penthouse, Emily paused in the foyer, much as Lily had done the previous day. But where Lily had been awestruck by the luxury, Emily's expression revealed something more complex. A mixture of appreciation for the beauty and bitter recognition of what she and Lily had missed. "Let me show you your room," Nathan offered, leading the way to the guest suite. "The closet has some basic clothes. Victoria picked them up. I hope they fit." Emily surveyed the elegant suite with its king-sized bed, sitting area, and marble bathroom. "This is bigger than our entire apartment." "Mama, come see my room," Lily exclaimed, pulling her mother's hand. "It has purple walls and an art table and books. With pictures." Emily allowed herself to be led to Lily's room, and Nathan watched from the doorway as she took in the transformation. The space was magical, everything a 5-year-old girl could dream of, from the fairy lights draped around, the canopy bed to the built-in bookshelf shaped like a castle. "You did all this overnight?" Emily asked, turning to Nathan. "I had help," he admitted. "But yes, I wanted it ready for Lily." Something complicated passed across Emily's face. Gratitude mingled with sadness. "It's beautiful. It's what she deserves. It's what you both deserve," Nathan said quietly. Emily looked away, clearly uncomfortable with the sentiment. "I should unpack my things." "Of course. Dinner will be ready in about an hour." The doctor emphasized protein and iron-rich foods, so I've arranged for a chef to prepare meals for the next few weeks. "A chef," Emily repeated, a hint of her earlier edge returning. "Of course you have." Left alone with Lily, Nathan found himself wondering how to bridge the chasm between his world and Emily's without making her feel diminished or indebted. "Shall we finish setting up your art supplies before dinner?" he suggested, to Lily, who nodded eagerly. As they arranged colorful markers, paints, and special papers on the art table, Lily chattered about her plans for drawings, a series featuring her new room, Mr. Button in his new surroundings, and of course, more. "Family portraits. Will you teach me to draw?" Nathan asked, genuinely curious about her artistic process. Lily considered this seriously. "You have to start with circles," she decided. "Mama says circles are the beginning of everything." For the next half hour, Nathan received drawing lessons from his 5-year-old daughter, following her instructions with careful attention. When Emily appeared in the doorway, she found them hunched over the art table, heads close together, as Lily critiqued Nathan's attempt at drawing a cat. "The whiskers should be longer," Lily was saying, "and the tail more curly." "Like this?" Nathan adjusted his drawing. "Better," Lily nodded approvingly. "You're learning fast." Emily cleared her throat, and they both looked up. Nathan was struck by how different she looked in simple jeans and a sweater compared to the hospital gown. Still thin, but with a natural elegance that transcended circumstances. "The chef just arrived," she said. "He's asking about dietary preferences." Dinner that evening was a study in contrasts. The professionally prepared meal, grilled salmon, quinoa with roasted vegetables, and a kale salad, was served in the formal dining room that had rarely seen use. Lily, thrilled by the novelty of such abundant food, tried everything with enthusiasm. Emily ate carefully, clearly savoring the quality but self-conscious about her appetite after days of hospital food. Nathan found himself watching them both, noting the small rituals that spoke of their bond, the way Emily automatically cut Lily's food into manageable pieces, how Lily knew to use her napkin without reminders, the shared glances that communicated without words. After dinner, as the chef cleared the dishes, Nathan addressed the practical matters they'd been avoiding. "I've been thinking about arrangements going forward," he began. "I'd like to be involved in Lily's life, not just financially, but as her father. Emily set down her water glass. And what does that mean exactly? Shared parenting. Joint decisions about her education, health, activities, time with both. Of us? You want joint custody, Emily stated it flatly. I want what's best for Lily, Nathan clarified, which I believe includes having both parents in her life. Emily was quiet for a long moment. A week ago she didn't have a father. Now you want to claim half of her time? I'm not suggesting an immediate 50-50 split, Nathan said carefully. I understand that would be disruptive for Lily, but I want to establish a legal framework that recognizes my role as her father. And if I refuse? Emily's voice was quiet but firm. Nathan met her gaze directly. I hope it doesn't come to that. I don't want an adversarial relationship, Emily. I want us to find a solution together. Mama, can I show Mr. Westbrook how to play Go Fish? Lily interrupted, seemingly oblivious to the tension between the adults. He says he doesn't know how. Emily's expression softened as she looked at her daughter. Of course, honey. Why, don't you get the cards from your backpack? As Lily raced off to retrieve the deck of well-worn playing cards, Emily turned back to Nathan. She still calls you Mr. Westbrook, she observed, not Dad or Father. That's okay, Nathan said. She'll use whatever term she's comfortable with when she's ready. Emily studied him with renewed intensity. You've changed, Nathan. The man I knew 6 years ago would have bulldozed over any opposition, used his money and influence to get exactly what he wanted. Maybe discovering I have a daughter has changed my priorities, he suggested. Or maybe it's just a novelty that will wear off, Emily countered. The challenge of acquiring something new, in this case, a ready-made family. Before Nathan could respond, Lily returned with the cards and the conversation was temporarily set aside in favor of the game. Nathan found himself genuinely enjoying the simple card game, watching Lily's serious concentration as she decided which cards to request, her delight when she completed a match. Later, after Lily was bathed and tucked into her new bed, Emily and Nathan sat in the living room, the Seattle skyline twinkling beyond the windows. I've been thinking about your suggestion, Emily said, breaking the silence, about staying here during my recovery. And, Nathan prompted when she paused, I can't live on charity, Nathan, not even from my daughter's father. What would make you comfortable? He asked. I meant what I said about contributing. If you want to mend my clothes, I have plenty that need attention. A ghost of a smile touched Emily's lips. That's not sustainable. But I've been thinking, before we broke up, I was designing clothing, not just mending it. I was good, Nathan. I had potential. I remember, he said softly. Your designs were beautiful. I've continued sketching even while doing piecework to survive. I have a portfolio of ideas. With the right materials, equipment, and a bit of space. She trailed off, then squared her shoulders. I'm proposing a business arrangement. You provide startup capital for a small design studio. I create a collection and repay the investment from sales. It would be a loan, not a gift. Nathan considered this. A business partnership. Exactly. Separate from our co-parenting arrangement. I need my own identity, my own success, not just as Lily's mother or your ex. I think that's a brilliant idea, Nathan said sincerely. But why not aim higher? With proper backing, you could launch a real label, not just a small studio. Emily shook her head. One step at a time. I need to build confidence, establish myself, and I need flexibility to be present for Lily. Nathan nodded, understanding her caution. All right, a studio to start, with the option to expand when you're ready. And in exchange, you and Lily stay here while you recover and get the business running. With clear boundaries, Emily stipulated. My suite and Lily's room are our spaces. We share common areas. We maintain separate lives, except where Lily is concerned. Agreed, Nathan said, extending his hand. Partners. Emily hesitated, then shook his hand. Partners. The simple touch, the first physical contact between them in 6 years, sent an unexpected current through both of them. Emily withdrew her hand quickly, looking away. "It's getting late," she said. "The doctor recommended plenty of rest." "Of course." As Emily stood to leave, she paused. "Nathan, there's something else you should know. When I tried to tell you about the pregnancy," she took a deep breath, "I wasn't just at your office those 17 times. I came to this building too. The doorman wouldn't let me up." Nathan felt the familiar stab of guilt. "Emily, I'm so sorry. It's in the past," she said, her voice steadier now. "But I need you to understand something. For 5 years, I've been the only parent Lily has known. I've made every decision, handled every crisis, celebrated every milestone. Sharing that role won't be easy for me." "I understand," Nathan said. "I don't expect to replace what you've built with her. I just want the chance to add to it." Emily nodded once, then turned toward the hallway leading to the guest suite. "Good night, Nathan." "Good night, Emily." Left alone in the vast living room, Nathan pulled out his phone and cancelled his remaining meetings for the week. The business empire could wait. He had more important foundations to build now. The beginnings of trust with Emily and the first careful layers of a relationship with the daughter he never thought he could have. 2 weeks passed in a careful dance of boundaries and new connections. The penthouse, once a showcase of solitary success, now hummed with the rhythms of family life. Lily's artwork adorned the refrigerator door. Children's books occupied the coffee table. The sound of small footsteps and spontaneous laughter echoed through spaces that had known only silence and business calls. Nathan found himself waking earlier, sleeping better, and checking his phone less frequently. The urgency that had driven his business career for 15 years had been redirected toward a more immediate purpose: building a relationship with his daughter. On this particular morning, Nathan sat at the breakfast bar, reviewing school brochures while Lily concentrated on her drawing beside him. Emily, now recovered enough to move comfortably around the penthouse, was in the guest suite working on design sketches. "What do you think of this one?" Nathan asked, showing Lily a colorful brochure for Lakeside Academy, one of Seattle's most prestigious private schools. Lily studied the pictures of smiling children in uniforms. "Do they have art class?" "They have an entire art department," Nathan confirmed, "with a special studio just for painting." Lily's eyes widened. "Every day?" "I'm not sure about every day, but they definitely take art seriously." Nathan made a note on his pad. "We can visit next week if you'd like. They have openings for mid-year enrollment." "What are you doing?" Emily's voice came from the doorway, her tone sharper than it had been in days. Nathan looked up. "Just looking at school options. The fall semester starts in 6 weeks and the best schools fill up quickly." Emily crossed to the counter, picking up one of the brochures. "Lakeside? Wellington Prep? These are $30,000 a year schools, Nathan." "They're the best in Seattle," he replied, confused by her reaction. "They have excellent academic programs, arts emphasis, small class sizes." "And did it occur to you to discuss this with me before, presenting options to Lily?" Emily's voice was controlled, but Nathan could hear the underlying tension. "I was just gathering information," he said carefully. "I wouldn't make any decisions without you." "It certainly looks like decision-making to me." Emily gestured to his notepad with its rankings and observations. "You've already narrowed it down to 3 schools, none of which are public options." Nathan set down his pen. "I assumed we'd want the best education possible for Lily." "The best isn't always the most expensive," Emily countered. "And there's more to consider than academics. Community, diversity, values." "Lakeside has an excellent diversity program," Nathan interrupted, "and their values align with—" "That's not the point." Emily's voice rose slightly before she caught herself, glancing at Lily, who was watching them with concern. In a calmer tone, she continued, "The point is that you made assumptions about a major decision without consulting me." Nathan realized his mistake. In his corporate world, efficiency meant researching options, narrowing choices, and presenting recommendations. But parenting wasn't a business meeting, and Emily wasn't a subordinate awaiting his direction. "You're right," he acknowledged. "I should have talked to you first." I'm sorry." The simple apology seemed to catch Emily off guard. She'd clearly been prepared for an argument. After a moment, she nodded. "We need to make these decisions together, Nathan. All of them." "Agreed. Why don't we review the options together after Lily's bedtime? You might have perspectives I haven't considered." Emily seemed satisfied with this solution. Lily has never been in formal schooling before. It's going to be a big adjustment, regardless of where she goes. "I've been teaching her at home," Lily contributed, looking up from her drawing. "Mama says I'm at first grade reading level already." Nathan and Emily exchanged a look of shared pride. "That's fantastic, Lily," Nathan said. "Your mama has done an amazing job teaching you." Later that afternoon, after Emily had taken Lily swimming in the building's pool, Nathan received a call from Robert, his CFO. "The Dubai investors pulled out," Robert reported without preamble. "They said your sudden family emergency demonstrated a lack of commitment to the expansion." "They're not wrong," Nathan admitted, surprising his CFO. "My priorities have shifted." "Nathan, this deal would have increased company value by 40%. The board is concerned. There are rumors you've secretly been diagnosed with a terminal illness, given how radically your behavior has changed." Nathan laughed, the sound foreign, even to his own ears. When was the last time he had laughed at work matters? "No terminal illness, Robert. Just a significant life change. I'll explain everything next week." "Next week? The quarterly projections meeting is tomorrow, and you haven't confirmed." "Reschedule it," Nathan interrupted. "I'm taking my daughter to the zoo tomorrow." The silence on the other end of the line stretched until Robert finally asked, "Your what?" "My daughter. She's 5. I recently discovered I'm a father." Another long pause. "Is this some kind of midlife crisis?" "It's a DNA-confirmed reality," Nathan replied calmly. "And it's changing how I view certain priorities." After ending the call, Nathan found himself oddly unbothered by the potential business implications. The expansion into Asian markets had been his single-minded focus for the past year. Now it seemed like just another deal, not the defining achievement he'd once imagined. The sound of laughter drew him to the living room, where Lily was showing Emily her drawing of the 3 of them at the zoo, an outing they had planned for the following day. "Look, Popeye," Lily called, using the term that had gradually replaced Mr. Westbrook over the past 2 weeks. "I drew you holding the map because you always know where we're going." The simple observation that in Lily's eyes, he was the navigator, the one who knew the way, touched Nathan deeply. He had spent years charting courses through business waters, but never with such meaningful cargo. "That's beautiful, Lily," he said, noting how she had drawn him significantly taller than reality, a common child's perspective of adults. "Are you excited about seeing the animals tomorrow?" "Especially the tigers," Lily nodded solemnly. "And the penguins. Do they have art classes for kids at the zoo?" "Art classes?" Nathan looked confused. "Lily has been asking about art classes," Emily explained. "She's becoming more interested in learning different techniques." "I don't think the zoo offers classes," Nathan said, "but we could certainly look into programs elsewhere. The Seattle Art Museum has excellent children's workshops." Lily beamed at this suggestion, and Nathan made a mental note to research options. Every day seemed to bring new discoveries about his daughter. Her preference for strawberry jam over grape, her habit of humming while concentrating, her impressive vocabulary that occasionally included Portuguese words Emily had taught her. That evening, after Lily was asleep, Nathan and Emily sat at the dining table reviewing school information. The tension from earlier had dissipated, replaced by a focused collaboration. "Lakeside is academically superior," Nathan pointed out, "but Wellington has a stronger arts program." Emily studied both brochures. "What about Montlake Elementary?" "It's public, but they have a highly rated gifted program and more socio-economic diversity than either private option." "Is diversity that important for education?" Nathan asked, genuinely curious. Emily looked up sharply. "Of course it is. Lily should learn alongside children from different backgrounds, not just those whose parents can afford $30,000 in tuition." "I see your point," Nathan conceded, but private schools can offer resources and opportunities that public schools can't match. And privilege that can isolate her from real-world experiences, Emily countered. I grew up in public schools, Nathan. They didn't prevent me from getting into RISD for design. Nathan hadn't known this detail about Emily's education, the prestigious Rhode Island School of Design acceptance she must have received before they met. Another reminder of the talent that had been sidelined by circumstance and single parenthood. What if we compromise, he suggested. We visit all 3 schools, see which environment Lily responds to best, and make the decision together based on what we observe. Emily considered this. That's reasonable. But Nathan, there's another factor to consider. If Lily attends Lakeside or Wellington, she'll be surrounded by wealthy families, birthday parties at country clubs, vacations in Europe, designer clothes. Our living situation is unusual. How do we explain that to her classmates or their parents? The question highlighted the ambiguity of their arrangement. They were neither a couple nor entirely separate, sharing a home but maintaining distinct lives except where Lily was concerned. What would you prefer our arrangement to be? Nathan asked carefully. Emily set down the brochure she'd been holding. I don't know. When I agreed to stay here during recovery, I didn't think beyond the immediate future. Now my health has improved, my design studio is taking shape, and we need to make decisions about Lily's education, all of which implies longer-term planning. Would you consider staying? Nathan asked. Not just in the guest suite, but making this a permanent home for you and Lily. Emily's expression grew guarded. Living here indefinitely, you mean? As what, exactly? As Lily's parents, Nathan said simply, co-parenting under one roof, even if we maintain separate personal lives. That's unusual. So is our entire situation, Nathan pointed out. We're making the rules as we go, Emily. What matters is what works for Lily and for us. Emily was quiet for a long moment. I need my own space, Nathan. Not just a suite in your penthouse. My identity can't be subsumed into your world. What if it wasn't my world anymore? Nathan asked, the idea forming as he spoke. What if we found a new place somewhere that belongs to both of us equally? A fresh start. The suggestion hung between them, unexpectedly weighty. It wasn't just about real estate, but about a fundamental restructuring of their relationship, building something new rather than Emily adapting to Nathan's established life. I don't know, Emily finally said. It's a big step. Just think about it, Nathan said. No pressure, no deadlines. The next day's trip to the zoo provided a welcome break from weightier discussions. Lily's excitement was contagious as she led her parents from exhibit to exhibit, her purple backpack now filled with a sketchbook rather than all her worldly possessions. Nathan found himself watching Emily as much as Lily. In the 2 weeks since leaving the hospital, Emily had regained weight and vitality. Her natural beauty, once dulled by exhaustion and malnutrition, had re-emerged. Today she wore jeans and a simple blouse, her hair pulled back in a ponytail, casual clothes that nonetheless highlighted her elegant features. At the tiger exhibit, Lily settled on a bench to draw the massive cats, her concentration absolute. Nathan and Emily stood nearby, maintaining the unconscious triangle of protection parents form around their children in public spaces. You're staring, Emily observed, without looking at Nathan. Sorry, he said, embarrassed at being caught. I was just thinking how different you look from 2 weeks ago. Healthier. Amazing what regular meals and reduced stress can do, she replied, with a hint of dry humor, though I still have trouble sleeping in that enormous bed. It feels like I might get lost in it. The casual mention of her bed sent Nathan's thoughts in an unexpected direction, one he quickly redirected. Their current arrangement was complex enough without introducing that dimension of their past relationship. How's the design work coming? He asked instead. Emily's expression brightened. Really well, actually. The materials I ordered arrived yesterday and I've started work on the first 3 pieces. It feels incredible, Nathan. Creating again instead of just mending and altering. "I never understood why you gave it up," Nathan said. "After we broke up, I mean, you were so talented." Emily's smile faded. "I didn't give it up by choice. When I found out I was pregnant, I tried to continue designing while working retail to pay the bills. Then morning sickness hit. Except for me, it was all-day sickness. I lost the retail job because I couldn't stop vomiting. By the time I was in my second trimester, I'd burned through my savings and couldn't afford fabric or supplies." Nathan winced at the stark reality. "And that's when you started taking in alterations?" Emily nodded. "It paid just enough to cover rent for a tiny studio apartment. After Lily was born, I could only work when she slept. As she got older, I took on more work, but it was always alterations and mending, quick turnaround, immediate payment. Design became a luxury I couldn't afford." The casual way she described her struggle made it all the more powerful. Nathan thought of his own life during those same years, the penthouse purchase, the expansion of Westbrook Tech, the accolades and wealth accumulation. While Emily had been choosing between food and rent, he had been deciding between vacation properties. "I want your design studio to succeed," he said with sudden intensity, "not just as a way for you to support yourself, but because your talent deserves to be recognized." Emily studied him, as if trying to determine his sincerity. "Thank you, but I need to build it gradually, on my terms. Success will mean more if I earn it step by step." "Mama, Papai, look," Lily called, holding up her sketchbook. She had captured the tiger with remarkable skill for a 5-year-old, the striped pattern and powerful form immediately recognizable. "That's incredible, Lily," Nathan said, genuinely impressed. Emily knelt beside her daughter. "You've really captured the tiger's expression. I'm so proud of you." As they moved to the next exhibit, Nathan's phone buzzed with an incoming call. Seeing Robert's name on the screen, he silenced it without a second thought. "Work?" Emily asked, noticing the gesture. "Nothing that can't wait," Nathan replied. Emily gave him a skeptical look. 2 weeks ago, you would have taken that call regardless of circumstances." 2 weeks ago, I didn't know I had a daughter." The simple statement encompassed the seismic shift in his priorities. What once seemed urgent, market expansions, investor concerns, quarterly projections, now felt distant and oddly insubstantial compared to Lily's drawings or Emily's gradual trust. That evening, after returning from the zoo, Nathan found himself alone on the balcony, contemplating the city lights while Emily helped Lily prepare for bed. His phone showed 7 missed calls from various executives and board members, all increasingly concerned about his disengagement from daily operations. The glass door slid open, and Emily joined him, wrapping a light cardigan around herself, against the evening chill. "Lily wants you to read her bedtime story tonight," she said. "Specifically you. She says you do better voices for the characters." Nathan smiled, pleased by this small victory. "I'll be right in." "Before you go," Emily said, leaning against the railing beside him, "I've been thinking about your suggestion, about finding a new place together." "And?" Nathan tried to keep his tone neutral, though his pulse quickened. "I think it might work with the right parameters. Separate bedrooms, shared spaces for Lily, a legal agreement about ownership and financial contributions proportionate to our means." "That sounds reasonable," Nathan agreed, surprised by her openness to the idea. "And I'd need my design studio to be part of the equation, a dedicated space, not just a corner of a room. Of course, we could look for a place with an additional room or converted garage specifically for that purpose." Emily nodded, seemingly satisfied with his response. "One more thing. If we do this, create a home together for Lily, we need to be clear about our relationship status, both with each other and with her." "Meaning?" "Meaning that living together doesn't automatically make us a couple, Nathan. We're Lily's parents, committed to co-parenting, but our romantic relationship ended 6 years ago. I don't want Lily to have false expectations about us, suddenly becoming a traditional family unit." The clarification stung more than Nathan anticipated. Over the past 2 weeks, he had found himself increasingly drawn to Emily, not just as Lily's mother, but as the woman he had once loved, the woman whose strength and grace under impossible circumstances had only deepened his respect. "I understand," he said, keeping his voice even. "We'll make sure Lily understands the arrangement." Emily searched his face. "Are you sure you're okay with that boundary? Living together while maintaining separate personal lives?" "If that's what you need." "Yes," Nathan replied honestly. "My priority is providing Lily with a stable home environment where she has access to both parents. The specific nature of our relationship is secondary to that goal." Emily seemed to accept this, turning to look out at the skyline. "I never thought we'd be here," she said softly. 6 years ago, when you ended things, I thought I'd never see you again. Then when I found out I was pregnant, I was certain you'd reject any claim of paternity." "I would have," Nathan admitted. "The medical evidence seemed irrefutable. It took seeing Lily, seeing my eyes in her face, to make me question what I thought was impossible." "She is remarkable, isn't she?" Emily's voice softened with maternal pride. "She's perfect," Nathan agreed. "And you did that, Emily. You raised an extraordinary child under impossible circumstances. I'm in awe of what you accomplished alone." Emily blinked rapidly, emotion briefly overcoming her usual composure. "I wasn't always sure I was doing the right things. There were nights I cried myself to sleep, worried I was failing her because I couldn't provide what other children had." "You gave her what matters most," Nathan said. "Love, security, values, creativity. Everything else, the material things, those are just details." Emily turned to him, a hint of the old warmth in her eyes. When did Nathan Westbrook, corporate titan, start believing material things were just details? "Around the time I heard a 5-year-old girl say, 'Papai, we don't have food,'" he answered honestly. The raw admission hung between them, a shared acknowledgement of how profoundly that single phone call had altered both their lives. "I should go read that story," Nathan said after a moment. "Which book did she choose?" "The Paper Bag Princess," Emily replied with a slight smile. "The one where the princess rescues herself and realizes she doesn't need the prince after all." "Sending me a message?" Nathan asked, returning her smile. "Maybe," Emily conceded. "Or maybe she just likes dragons." As Nathan headed inside to read to Lily, he found himself contemplating Emily's boundaries around their relationship. She was right to establish clear parameters. Their history was complicated, the present still uncertain. Yet he couldn't deny the rekindling of feelings he had believed long extinguished. For now, he would respect her wishes. The priority was creating stability for Lily and rebuilding trust with Emily. Everything else, including the unexpected stirrings of his heart, would have to wait. "The board cannot accept your continued absence," Robert said, his voice tense even over the speakerphone. "It's been a month, Nathan. A month of postponed meetings, delegated decisions, and vague explanations about family priorities." Nathan leaned back in his home office chair, watching through the glass wall as Lily practiced writing at the dining table, her small face scrunched in concentration. Emily sat beside her, alternating between helping Lily and sketching designs in her notebook. "I understand the board's concerns," Nathan replied, his tone measured. "That's why I've proposed the restructuring plan. Promoting Diane to COO gives us operational continuity, while allowing me to step back from day-to-day management." "Step back?" Robert's voice rose in disbelief. "You built Westbrook Tech from nothing. The company is your identity." "It was," Nathan corrected quietly. "Things change." "Because of this child situation?" "Nathan, plenty of CEOs have families. They don't abandon their companies." "I'm not abandoning anything," Nathan countered. "I'm rebalancing my commitments. The Asian expansion can proceed without my daily involvement. Diane is more than capable. The Dubai investors specifically want your personal guarantee on the project," Robert interrupted. "They've made it clear that without your direct oversight, they're walking away. That's $200 million in potential investment." A month ago, the prospect of losing such a deal would have sent Nathan into crisis mode. Late nights, emergency flights to the Middle East, whatever it took to salvage the opportunity. Now, watching Lily beam with pride as she successfully wrote her full name, the investor concerns seemed remarkably unimportant. "Then they walk," Nathan said simply. There are other investors, other opportunities. My daughter starts school next week, Robert. I'm not missing that for a meeting in Dubai." The silence that followed spoke volumes. Finally, Robert sighed. "The board meeting is on Thursday. They'll expect a clear explanation of your long-term involvement plans." "They'll have it," Nathan assured him. "I'll see you Thursday." After ending the call, Nathan joined Emily and Lily at the dining table. "That looks fantastic, Lily. Your handwriting is getting better every day." "Mama says I need to practice before school starts," Lily explained seriously, "so I can write my name on all my papers." "That's right," Emily confirmed. "Lakeside will expect neat handwriting from all their students." The decision about Lily's education had been made jointly after visiting all 3 schools. To Nathan's surprise, Emily had ultimately favored Lakeside, impressed by their art program and the financial aid initiatives that ensured student diversity despite the high tuition. "Are you nervous about starting school?" Nathan asked, sitting beside Lily. She considered the question with characteristic thoughtfulness. "A little, but Mama says it's okay to be nervous about new things, as long as you try them anyway." "Your Mama is very wise," Nathan smiled, catching Emily's eye over Lily's head. "I'm going to show my teacher my tiger drawing," Lily continued, "and tell her I saw real tigers at the zoo with my Mama and Papai." The casual inclusion, "my Mama and Papai," still gave Nathan a surge of emotion every time he heard it. 6 weeks ago, he had believed fatherhood was medically impossible. Now it was the center of his identity, reshaping every aspect of his life. "I have a surprise for both of you," he said. "I've arranged for us to see 3 houses tomorrow. Potential. New homes." Emily looked up from her sketching. "Already? I thought we were just starting to discuss that possibility." "These are just preliminary viewings," Nathan clarified. "No pressure, no decisions. But the real estate market moves quickly, and I wanted to get a sense of what's available that might meet our criteria." "What kind of houses?" Lily asked, immediately interested. "Do they have swimming pools?" "One does," Nathan confirmed. "They're all in good neighborhoods with excellent schools, parks nearby, and enough space for a design studio for your mama." Emily set down her pencil. "I appreciate the initiative, Nathan, but we should discuss this first. What neighborhoods are you considering? What's the price range? How would ownership be structured?" Nathan recognized the protective caution in her questions. Despite the progress in their co-parenting relationship, Emily remained wary of becoming financially dependent on him. "I've been researching areas that balance proximity to the city with more residential settings," he explained. "Madison Park, Queen Anne, and Laurelhurst. As for structure, I was thinking joint ownership, with contributions proportional to our respective means." "That's reasonable," Emily acknowledged, though her expression remained guarded. "But I've only just started rebuilding my design business. My financial contribution would be minimal initially." "We can adjust over time," Nathan suggested. "The important thing is establishing a stable home base for Lily before school starts." Lily, who had been following the adult conversation with interest, suddenly asked, "Will we all live together in the new house, like a regular family?" The innocent question highlighted the complex reality they were navigating. Emily and Nathan exchanged a look, silently debating who should respond. "We'll all live in the same house," Emily began carefully, "but it will be a special arrangement. Papai will have his space and I'll have mine. We'll share the family areas, like the kitchen and living room." "But why?" Lily persisted. "Jamie at the playground lives with her mama and daddy together. They have the same bedroom." Nathan cleared his throat. "Every family is different, Lily. Some parents share a room, and others don't. What matters is that we both love you very much and want to be with you." Lily considered this explanation, her expression thoughtful. "Okay," she finally said, "but can I have a purple room in the new house too?" "Absolutely," Nathan promised, relieved by the shift to simpler territory. "Any shade of purple you want." Later that evening, after Lily was asleep, Nathan found Emily in the kitchen making tea. The domesticity of the scene struck him, how quickly they had established routines and rhythms in this shared space. "I should have consulted you before arranging the house viewings," he acknowledged, leaning against the counter. "Old habits of making executive decisions." Emily handed him a mug of tea. You're used to operating independently. We both are for different reasons. Learning to collaborate takes time. Speaking of collaboration, Nathan ventured, I received a call from Wellington Prep today. They're organizing a welcome event for new families next weekend. We should probably discuss how we want to present our situation. Emily blew gently on her tea. You mean, what do we tell people about our relationship? Exactly. We'll be encountering other parents, teachers, administrators. They'll naturally make assumptions. We tell the truth, Emily said simply. We're Lily's parents, committed to co-parenting and providing her with a stable environment. The details of our personal relationship aren't relevant to anyone else. Nathan nodded, though he felt a twinge of disappointment at her matter-of-fact response. Over the past month, as they had navigated the complexities of their new reality, he had found himself increasingly drawn to Emily, not just as Lily's mother, but as the woman whose strength and resilience had only deepened his admiration. That makes sense, he agreed. Simple and straightforward. Emily studied him over the rim of her mug. Is something bothering you, Nathan? No, he said quickly, then reconsidered. Actually, yes. I'm struggling with the board at Westbrook. They're pushing back against my reduced role, particularly regarding the Asian expansion. That's understandable, Emily observed. You've been the face and driving force of the company. Change is difficult for organizations, just as it is for individuals. The thing is, Nathan continued, I'm not conflicted about it. A month ago, that expansion was everything to me. Now it barely registers compared to Lily's first day of school or finding the right home for us. That's called being a parent, Emily said with a small smile. Your priorities shift, often dramatically. I remember when I was 8 months pregnant, frantically finishing an alteration job at 3 in the morning because we needed money for baby supplies. Nothing else mattered. Not sleep, not comfort, just preparing for Lily. The casual mention of her pregnancy, a time when Nathan had been entirely absent, unaware of the life growing from his genetic material, sent a fresh wave of regret through him. I missed so much, he said quietly. First words, first steps, first everything. Emily's expression softened. You're here now, Nathan. And Lily has many firsts ahead. First day of school, first lost tooth, first bicycle ride without training wheels. You haven't missed everything. Thank you for that, he said, touched by her generosity in including him despite their complicated history. And thank you for being open to this unconventional living arrangement. I know it can't be easy to consider sharing space with me after everything. It's not about us, Emily reminded him. It's about giving Lily the family stability she deserves. The next day brought the house viewings, with Lily bouncing excitedly between rooms, declaring each more wonderful than the last. The first property, a colonial-style home in Queen Anne, offered stunning views but limited yard space. The second, a contemporary build in Madison Park, featured an ideal studio space for Emily, but felt impersonal and sterile. The third property, located in Laurelhurst, captured their attention immediately. Set on a quiet street lined with maple trees, the craftsman-style home offered the perfect balance of character and modern amenities. A renovated detached garage had been converted into a light-filled studio ideal for Emily's design work. The backyard, though not expansive, included a small garden and enough space for outdoor play. This place has soul, Emily observed as they explored the main living areas. It feels like a home, not just a house. Nathan nodded, watching Lily peer out bay windows that overlooked the garden. It would need minimal renovation, maybe just some updates to the kitchen and security system, and childproofing, Emily added, eyeing the vintage staircase with its widely spaced balusters. The real estate agent, sensing their interest, diplomatically mentioned that several other parties had already expressed serious interest. It's a desirable property in an excellent school district, she explained. I don't expect it will remain on the market long. Outside on the porch, while Lily explored the garden under the agent's supervision, Nathan and Emily discussed their impressions. It feels right, Emily admitted. The studio space is perfect. North-facing light, built-in storage, separate entrance for clients. The location is ideal too, Nathan added. 10 minutes from downtown, but in a residential neighborhood with excellent parks. What about the price? Emily asked directly. It's clearly at the high end of the market. Nathan had deliberately avoided discussing specifics in front of the agent. It's within the budget we discussed. As for the ownership structure, my lawyer has drafted options for joint tenancy that protect both our interests. Emily's gaze was evaluative, assessing his sincerity. This is a big step, Nathan. A shared home is a significant commitment. I know, he acknowledged, but I think we're ready. More importantly, I think Lily needs this stability before school starts. A real home, not temporary arrangements in my bachelor penthouse. Emily watched as Lily discovered a small bird bath in the garden, her delight evident even from a distance. Let's make an offer, she decided, but with the clear understanding that this is a co-parenting arrangement, not a reconciliation. Absolutely, Nathan agreed, ignoring the slight ache her clarification caused. I'll have my lawyer draw up the papers immediately. The offer was accepted the following day. Nathan's reputation and financial credentials eliminating any concerns about financing contingencies. With remarkable efficiency, driven by Lily's approaching school start date, they closed on the property within 2 weeks. Moving day arrived with unexpected emotions for all of them. For Nathan, leaving the penthouse that had symbolized his success felt strangely liberating. For Emily, it represented the first stable home she would occupy in 6 years. For Lily, excited about her new purple bedroom, it was simply another adventure with her now united parents. Where does this go? Nathan asked, holding up a small ceramic figurine, a delicate ballerina that seemed out of place among Emily's practical possessions. My nightstand, Emily replied, a hint of embarrassment in her voice. It's silly, but you gave it to me. On our first anniversary. I've kept it all these years. The revelation that she had preserved this token of their past relationship through years of hardship caught Nathan off guard. I remember buying it, he said softly. You had mentioned once that you wanted to be a dancer before you discovered design. I'm surprised you remember that, Emily said, taking the figurine gently. I remember more than you might think, Nathan responded. The moment hung between them, laden with shared history and unspoken emotions. Lily's excited voice from upstairs broke the tension. Mama, Papai, come see my room with all my drawings up. The first night in their new home brought its own challenges. Lily, despite her initial excitement, grew anxious in the unfamiliar setting. After the third time she appeared in the hallway with tears and claims of scary noises, Emily suggested they all camp out in the living room. We used to do this in our old apartment during thunderstorms, she explained, arranging blankets and pillows on the floor. It helped Lily feel secure. So it was that Nathan Westbrook, CEO of a billion-dollar tech company, found himself lying on the living room floor in a makeshift blanket fort, telling bedtime stories until Lily's breathing deepened into sleep. Emily lay on Lily's other side, her own exhaustion evident. You should get some rest, Nathan whispered. I'll stay awake in case she wakes again. Emily nodded gratefully, her eyes already closing. Wake me in a few hours and we can switch. In the quiet darkness, with his daughter sleeping peacefully between them, Nathan studied Emily's face, relaxed in sleep. The woman who had raised their child alone, who had sacrificed her dreams and health to provide for Lily, who had every reason to resent him, but had instead found the grace to allow him into their lives. The urge to reach across and touch her cheek was powerful, but Nathan restrained himself. Emily had been clear about the boundaries of their relationship, and he respected her too much to challenge them. Yet he couldn't deny the feelings that had reawakened during these weeks of shared parenting and mutual discovery. Morning brought a flurry of unpacking and organization. Lily, her night fears forgotten in the daylight, eagerly helped arrange her books and toys in her new room. Emily set up her design studio, carefully positioning her sewing equipment and drafting table to maximize the northern light. Nathan, meanwhile, focused on practical matters, programming the security system, coordinating with contractors about child-proofing modifications. stocking the refrigerator and pantry with everyone's favorites. By mid-afternoon, the essential spaces were functional, though boxes still lined the hallways and spare rooms. Nathan found Emily in the kitchen, attempting to locate basic cooking supplies among the chaos. "I was thinking we might order in for dinner," he suggested, "give ourselves a break from unpacking." "Good idea," Emily agreed, pushing a strand of hair from her face. "Lily's favorite pizza place delivers here. How is she doing with the transition?" Nathan asked, genuinely curious about Emily's assessment of their daughter's adjustment. "Better than I expected," Emily replied. "She's resilient, but she's also never had this much change in such a short time. New father, new home, new school. Starting next week, we should watch for signs of stress." "I've been reading about that," Nathan admitted, "about how children process major life changes. There are techniques we can use to help her feel secure despite the transitions." Emily looked at him with surprise. "You've been researching child psychology?" "Among other things," Nathan confirmed. "Parenting techniques, developmental milestones, educational approaches. I have 5 years of catching up to do." A soft smile transformed Emily's tired face. "That's really wonderful, Nathan. Lily is lucky to have a father who cares so much about understanding her needs." The simple praise warmed him more than any business accolade ever had. "I'm the lucky one," he said honestly, "to have this second chance at being in her life." Their moment of connection was interrupted by Lily's appearance in the kitchen doorway, clutching a drawing. "I made our new house," she announced proudly, holding up the artwork for inspection. The crayon illustration showed the craftsman-style home with 3 figures standing in front: a tall man, a woman with long hair, and a small girl between them, all holding hands. Above them, a bright yellow sun beamed down on a row of purple flowers. "It's beautiful, Lily," Emily praised, kneeling to examine the details. "I put us all together," Lily explained, pointing to the hand-holding figures, "like a real family." Nathan and Emily exchanged a glance over Lily's head, a silent acknowledgement of the complexity behind Lily's simple understanding. "We are a real family," Nathan assured her, choosing his words carefully. "Just a special kind of family where Mama and Papa have separate rooms, but both love you very much." Lily seemed satisfied with this explanation, already moving on to show them the butterflies she had included in the garden scene. But the question lingered between the adults. What kind of family were they building exactly? And was this arrangement truly sustainable long-term? The following evening, Nathan received a call that would test their fragile new equilibrium. The Dubai investors, frustrated by his continued unavailability, had issued an ultimatum. Either Nathan personally led the expansion project, including extended time in the Middle East, or they would withdraw their support entirely. "The board is unanimous on this," Robert reported grimly. "Either you recommit to your role as CEO in full capacity, or they'll begin searching for your replacement." Nathan sat in his new home office, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes, the sounds of Lily and Emily preparing dinner drifting down the hallway. "I understand," he said, his voice steady. "I'll give you my decision tomorrow." After ending the call, Nathan remained at his desk, weighing options that would have been unthinkable months earlier. Step down as CEO of the company he had built from nothing, or recommit to the demanding role that would inevitably pull him away from his newly discovered family. "Dinner's ready," Emily called from the kitchen. Nathan joined them at the dining table, where Lily was proudly setting out napkins at each place. "I'm helping," she informed him seriously. "Mama says in our new house, everyone has jobs to do." "That's right," Emily confirmed, bringing a casserole to the table. Teamwork makes a home run smoothly. The simple domesticity of the scene, his daughter's earnest helpfulness, Emily's practical approach to establishing household routines, contrasted sharply with the corporate ultimatum waiting for his response. Throughout dinner, Nathan found himself observing them both with heightened awareness. Lily chattering about the bird she had spotted in the garden, Emily gently correcting her table manners while encouraging her storytelling. The natural rhythm they had established through years together, which he was only now beginning to join. "Is everything okay?" Emily asked as they cleared the dishes. "You've been quiet tonight." Just some work concerns, Nathan said, not wanting to burden her with the decision facing him. Nothing important. Emily's skeptical look made it clear she wasn't convinced, but she didn't press the issue. Later, after Lily was bathed and tucked into bed, this time in her own room with a nightlight and Mr. Button standing guard against imaginary monsters, Emily found Nathan on the back porch, staring into the gathering darkness. "It must be pretty serious if it's keeping Nathan Westbrook silent through an entire meal," she observed, sitting beside him on the porch swing. "Want to talk about it?" Nathan hesitated, then decided honesty was essential to their co-parenting relationship. "The board has effectively given me an ultimatum. Either I return to full-time CEO duties, including significant travel for the Asian expansion, or they'll begin looking for my replacement." "I see," Emily said quietly. "And what are you thinking?" "I'm thinking that 6 months ago, this wouldn't have been a question. My company was everything to me, my legacy, my purpose." Nathan turned to look at her. "Now I have a 5-year-old daughter starting school next week, and the thought of missing that for a business meeting seems absurd." "But this isn't just any business," Emily pointed out. "It's the company you built from nothing, your creation." "So is Lily," Nathan said simply. Emily was silent for a moment, absorbing the implication of his words. "What will you do?" "I don't know yet," he admitted. "I've been trying to find a middle ground, restructuring leadership, delegating more responsibilities. But some investors want my personal involvement, or they walk away. And if they walk away, stock prices drop, the expansion stalls, my reputation takes a hit." Nathan shrugged. "But no one starves. No one goes homeless. It's just business." Emily studied his profile in the dim porch light. "You really have changed, Nathan." "I had to," he replied. "The moment I saw Lily in that hospital corridor clutching your hand, nothing has been the same since." The porch swing creaked gently as they rocked in comfortable silence. Finally, Emily spoke again, her voice thoughtful. "When I was pregnant with Lily, terrified and alone, I used to imagine confronting you, telling you about our child, demanding support, maybe even punishing you for not being there. But as Lily grew, that fantasy faded. I realized that her father's absence, while painful, had also forced me to discover strengths I never knew I had." Nathan listened intently, hearing the hard-earned wisdom in her words. "What I'm trying to say," Emily continued, "is that sometimes the challenges we face reshape us in necessary ways. Maybe this choice between your company and your family isn't a loss either way, but an opportunity to redefine what success means to you." The insight struck Nathan deeply, not just for its clarity, but because it came from the woman who had every reason to resent him yet was offering perspective instead. "Thank you," he said simply. Emily nodded, then stood. "I should get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be another busy day of unpacking." As she turned to go inside, Nathan caught her hand gently. "Emily." She paused, looking down at their joined hands, then back to his face. "I know we've established boundaries," Nathan said carefully, "and I respect that. But I want you to know that my feelings for you have evolved since you came back into my life. You're not just Lily's mother to me." Emily's expression was unreadable in the dim light. "Nathan, this is complicated enough. Without—" "I know," he interrupted softly. "I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know." Emily gently withdrew her hand. "Let's focus on getting settled and helping Lily adjust to school. Everything else, let's just take it one day at a time." As she disappeared into the house, Nathan remained on the porch, the weight of multiple decisions pressing on him. By morning, he would need to give Robert his answer about the company. But the more significant question, whether his feelings, for Emily might eventually be reciprocated, would require patience and time. Inside the new house with its half-unpacked boxes and unfamiliar sounds, a family was taking shape, unconventional, complicated, but undeniably real. Whatever Nathan decided about his professional future, this newfound connection with his daughter and her mother had already redefined his understanding of what truly constituted success. 6 months had transformed the Laurelhurst house from a new purchase into a true home. Autumn had given way to winter, then to a tentative spring that now scattered cherry blossoms across the front yard. Inside, the once empty rooms had acquired the layered patina of daily life. Lily's artwork adorning the refrigerator, Emily's design sketches spread across the dining table, Nathan's reading glasses perpetually misplaced, then found in unexpected locations. Nathan stood at the kitchen counter, preparing Lily's lunch for school, an activity that had become one of his favorite morning rituals. 6 months ago, he couldn't have imagined finding satisfaction in creating the perfect peanut butter sandwich, crusts removed cut diagonally, or selecting the right combination of fruits and vegetables that would actually be eaten rather than traded away. "Don't forget her water bottle," Emily reminded him, entering the kitchen in her robe, hair still damp from the shower. "And it's Thursday, so—" "Library books need to be returned," Nathan finished, holding up the canvas bag containing Lily's borrowed books, already packed. Emily smiled, pouring herself coffee from the pot Nathan had brewed earlier. "You've got this down to a science." "I had an excellent teacher," he replied, returning her smile. The easy domesticity between them had evolved gradually over the months of shared parenting. While they maintained their agreed-upon boundaries, separate bedrooms, clear delineation of personal space, their day-to-day interactions had developed a comfortable rhythm built on mutual respect and Lily's well-being. "Lily!" "5 minutes until we need to leave," Nathan called up the stairs. "Coming, Popeye," her voice echoed back, followed by the sound of small feet hurrying across the floor above. Emily leaned against the counter, watching Nathan finish packing Lily's lunch. "She has her presentation today," she reminded him, "about the family history project." Nathan nodded, his expression softening. "She's been practicing all week. I think she's got it memorized." The project, a standard first-grade assignment, exploring family origins, had initially presented challenges for their unconventional household. How to explain to Lily's classmates and teacher the complexity of her parents' relationship. In the end, Lily had developed her own narrative, remarkably astute for a 6-year-old. "My mama and papa didn't know they were going to have me, but when they found out, they made a special family just for us." Lily appeared in the kitchen doorway, dressed in her school uniform with her backpack already secured. "I'm ready." "Hair," Emily reminded gently, pointing to Lily's uncombed locks. With a dramatic sigh that only a 6-year-old could perfect, Lily dropped her backpack and returned upstairs to address the oversight. "Are you nervous about today?" Emily asked Nathan, her voice lowered. "A little," he admitted. "It's a big step." Today marked a significant milestone. Nathan's first board meeting since stepping down as CEO of Westbrook Tech 6 months earlier. His decision had sent shockwaves through the business community. Headlines had blared, "Tech Titan abandons empire for family." The stock had initially dropped, investors had withdrawn, and competitors had circled like sharks sensing blood. But Nathan had remained firm in his choice. He had retained his position as chairman of the board, while Diane Matsuda, his former COO, had taken over daily operations as CEO. The transition had been bumpy, but the company had stabilized more quickly than analysts predicted. Nathan's strategic vision remained influential, but his time commitment had reduced dramatically, from 80-hour weeks to 2 days of focused involvement. The arrangement allowed him to drive Lily to school each morning, attend her soccer practices, and be present for dinners and bedtime stories. It gave him time to build the relationship with his daughter that he had nearly missed entirely, and it provided space for something unexpected to develop between himself and Emily. "You'll do great today," Emily assured him, briefly touching his arm, one of the small physical contacts that had become more frequent between them in recent weeks. "The quarterly numbers are strong and Diane has proven herself capable." "It's not the meeting I'm nervous about," Nathan confessed. "It's what comes after." Before Emily could respond, Lily reappeared, hair neatly brushed and secured with purple, clips that matched her backpack. "Now I'm ready." The school drop-off routine proceeded as usual, Lily receiving last-minute encouragement for her presentation, Nathan reminding her he'd be at pickup with a special treat to celebrate, regardless of how it went. As Lily disappeared into the school building with a final wave, Nathan found himself, as he often did, marveling at the seismic shift in his priorities. The man who once measured success in stock prices and acquisition deals now counted himself victorious when his daughter remembered to say "thank you" without prompting or conquered a difficult spelling word. Back at home, Emily had transformed from robe-clad mother to focused designer. Her studio, once just a converted garage with basic equipment, now hummed with professional activity. The success of her first small collection had exceeded all expectations, attracting attention from boutique retailers across Seattle and as far south as Portland. Nathan found her at her work table, pinning pattern pieces to a length of midnight. "Blue silk." "Headed to the meeting?" she asked without looking up, her fingers deftly securing the delicate fabric. "Just wanted to say goodbye," Nathan replied, hovering in the doorway that separated her workspace from the main house. Though they shared a home, he remained respectful of the boundaries that kept her design studio as her exclusive domain. Emily set down her pins and turned to face him. "Good luck today, with everything." "Thank you," he said simply. The understanding between them required few words, another change from their earlier relationship, which had often faltered on miscommunication and assumptions. As Nathan drove downtown toward the Westbrook Tech headquarters, he reflected on the tumultuous 6 months since his decision to step back from the CEO role. The professional cost had been substantial, not just financially, though his net worth had decreased significantly with the initial stock drop, but in terms of reputation and influence within the industry. Colleagues who had once sought his advice now viewed him with confusion or pity, assuming some hidden scandal or health crisis must explain his downward trajectory. Few understood that what looked like career suicide from the outside felt like liberation from within. The board meeting proceeded more smoothly than anticipated. Diane Matsuda presented impressive quarterly results. The Asian expansion was back on track with new investors, and the company's pivot toward healthcare AI applications showed promising early returns. Nathan contributed strategic insights where appropriate but otherwise supported Diane's leadership, conscious of not undermining her authority. "Impressive recovery," commented Howard Reeves, one of the senior board members who had most strongly opposed Nathan's step back. "Matsuda's exceeding expectations." "She is," Nathan agreed. "But more importantly, the company's mission remains intact. The work continues, regardless of who sits in which chair." The philosophical observation earned him a puzzled look from Howard, who had known Nathan since his aggressively ambitious early days. "Still don't understand why you walked away at the peak, Westbrook. You built this company from nothing." "I discovered something more important to build," Nathan replied simply. After the meeting, Nathan declined the usual executive lunch instead, heading to a different destination, the offices of Jennifer Hayes, the family law attorney who had guided his initial paternity establishment. "The papers are ready," she informed him, sliding a folder across her desk. "Exactly as we discussed. Have you talked to Ms. Turner about this?" "Not in specific terms," Nathan admitted. "I wanted to have everything prepared first." Hayes raised an eyebrow. "Bold move, considering the complexity of your relationship." "Sometimes clarity requires boldness," Nathan replied, tucking the folder into his briefcase. His next stop was equally significant, Lockwood Jewelers in Pioneer Square, where a custom order awaited his inspection. The elderly proprietor presented a small velvet box with practiced ceremony. "As you requested, Mr. Westbrook," he said, "with the modifications we discussed." Nathan examined the contents carefully before nodding his approval. "It's perfect, thank you." By 3 o'clock, he was waiting outside Lakeside Academy, joining the line of parents and caregivers gathered for pickup. Unlike the first days of school, when he had felt conspicuously out of place among the primarily female crowd, Nathan now exchanged comfortable greetings with several regular parents. "Nathan, just the man I wanted to see," called Margaret Chen, mother of Lily's best friend, Sophia. "We're putting together the Spring Festival Committee. We need more father involvement. Any chance you could help coordinate the games section?" 6 months ago, Nathan had been coordinating international business deals worth millions. Now he found himself genuinely pleased to be considered for organizing sack races and water balloon tosses. "I'd be happy to," he replied. "Send me the details and I'll put it on my calendar." The school doors opened, releasing a flood of uniform-clad children. Nathan spotted Lily immediately, her dark hair and purposeful stride standing out among her classmates. Her face lit up when she saw him waiting. "Papai," she called, running to him with her backpack bouncing. "I did my presentation and Ms. Wilson said it was excellent. She liked the family tree I drew with all the purple flowers around it." "That's wonderful, Lily," Nathan said, kneeling to accept her enthusiastic hug. "I knew you'd do great. How about we get that special treat I promised?" Their celebration took place at Lily's favorite ice cream shop, a tradition they had established for milestone moments. As Lily detailed her presentation success between spoonfuls of purple-tinted berry ice cream, Nathan found himself storing away each expression, each gesture, treasuring these ordinary moments that once would have seemed insignificant compared to business achievements. "And then Jamie asked why you and Mama don't sleep in the same room like his parents," Lily continued. Matter-of-factly, "I told him every family is different, and ours is special because we chose to be together even though we didn't have to be." Nathan paused, his own ice cream forgotten. "That's a very wise answer, Lily. Did you come up with that yourself?" Lily shook her head. "Mama helped me. She said families come in all different shapes, and what matters is that everyone feels safe and loved." "Your mama is very smart," Nathan said, his throat suddenly tight with emotion. "I know," Lily agreed seriously. "She makes the prettiest dresses and knows how to fix everything, and she smiles a lot more now that we live in our house with you." The simple observation, delivered with a child's unfiltered honesty, gave Nathan a surge of hope for what lay ahead that evening. When they arrived home, Emily was in the kitchen preparing dinner, the house filled with the aroma of her signature roast chicken, a dish that had become a Thursday tradition in their household. "There's my presenter," Emily exclaimed as Lily bounded into the kitchen. "How did it go?" While Lily recounted her success in enthusiastic detail, Nathan slipped away to change from his board meeting attire into more casual clothes. The formal suit and tie that had once been his daily uniform now felt foreign against his skin, a reminder of the life he had chosen to reshape. Dinner was a lively affair, with Lily dominating the conversation as she often did, her school stories interspersed with elaborate plans for her upcoming birthday. Nathan and Emily exchanged amused glances over her head, their silent communication reflecting months of shared parenting experiences. After Lily was bathed and settled into bed with her nightly story, Nathan found Emily in the living room, reviewing fabric swatches for her next collection. The domestic scene, Emily curled in the corner of the sofa, reading glasses perched on her nose, completely absorbed in her work, struck him with its simple perfection. "Successful board meeting?" she asked, looking up as he entered. "Very," Nathan confirmed, sitting beside her. "Diane is exceeding all expectations as CEO. The company is thriving, possibly better than when I was micromanaging every aspect." "Imagine that," Emily teased gently. "The world continuing to turn without Nathan Westbrook at the helm." "A shocking development," he agreed with a smile. Then, more seriously, "Emily, there's something I'd like to discuss with you." She set aside her swatches, giving him her full attention. "That sounds ominous." "Not ominous," Nathan assured her. "Just important." He hesitated, then continued. "These past 6 months, living here together, raising Lily as a team, it's been enlightening. I've learned more about myself, about parenting, about what truly matters, than in all my years building Westbrook Tech." Emily's expression was guarded, but attentive. "It's been a significant adjustment for all of us." "A positive one, I think," Nathan ventured. "At least it has been for me. And for Lily." "For me too," Emily admitted softly. "Seeing you with Lily, watching how committed you've been to being present in her life, it's been healing in ways I didn't expect." Encouraged by her response, Nathan reached for his briefcase beside the sofa. "I've been thinking about our arrangement, the boundaries we established when we decided to live together for Lily's sake." "Nathan," Emily began, a note of caution in her voice. "Please," he interrupted gently. "Let me finish." He withdrew the folder from his briefcase. "These are papers establishing a trust for Lily's education and future needs. It's structured so that neither of us controls it exclusively. All decisions require joint approval." Emily accepted the folder, scanning the documents with surprise. "This is very generous, Nathan." "It's not generosity," he corrected. "It's responsibility, but there's more." He took a deep breath. "The house is currently in both our names, with a significant imbalance in equity contribution. These papers," he indicated another section of the documents, "equalize our ownership completely, regardless of financial input." Emily looked up sharply. "I can't accept that. My contribution has been minimal compared to yours." "Your contribution to our family goes far beyond financial," Nathan said firmly. "You raised Lily alone for 5 years. You've built a home. For us that feels safe and loving. That has value beyond any mortgage payment." Emily was silent, processing his words and the implications of the documents before her. "There's one more thing," Nathan continued, his heartbeat accelerating. "Something I've been considering for several months now." From his pocket, he withdrew the small velvet box from Lockwood Jewelers. Emily's eyes widened as he placed it on the coffee table between them. "This isn't what you think," he said quickly, noticing her expression. "At least not exactly." Cautiously, Emily reached for the box and opened it. Inside lay a ring, but not a traditional engagement diamond. Instead, a delicate band of intertwined gold and rose gold encircled a small purple amethyst. "It's a promise," Nathan explained. "Not a proposal, not yet, but an acknowledgement that my feelings for you have deepened beyond co-parenting. The colors represent the three of us. The gold for you and me intertwined but distinct, and the purple for Lily at the center of everything." Emily traced the ring with a fingertip, her expression unreadable. "It's beautiful," she finally said. "But Nathan, we agreed to boundaries for a reason. Our history is complicated." "I know," he acknowledged, "and I'm not asking for an immediate change in our relationship. The ring is a symbol of possibility, that someday, if you feel the same way, we might explore what we could be together, not just as Lily's parents, but as partners in the fullest sense." Emily closed the box carefully, then looked up at him. "When did you know that your feelings had changed?" "I'm not sure there was a single moment," Nathan admitted. "Maybe it was watching you teach Lily to tie her shoes with endless patience, or seeing your face when your first collection sold out, or simply realizing that each morning my first thought is hoping to see you in the kitchen, sleep-rumpled and beautiful over your coffee cup." A blush colored Emily's cheeks at his words. "I've been cautious," she said slowly. "After everything we've been through, the breakup, the years of struggle, finding our way back to this strange co-parenting arrangement, I couldn't risk Lily's stability on feelings that might not last." "I understand that," Nathan said, "and I respect it. That's why this is a promise, not a demand. Take the ring, Emily. Keep it as long as you need to. If you're ready to wear it, I'll be here." Emily held the velvet box, weighing more than just its physical presence. "What if I'm never ready? Would you regret the choices you've made? Stepping back from your company? Creating this home with us?" "Never," Nathan said without hesitation. "Even if our relationship remains exactly as it is now, co-parents and friends, I would still consider these past 6 months the most valuable of my life. Lily is the miracle I never thought I'd experience, and you, Emily, you've taught me what true strength looks like. I can only hope to be worthy of the second chance you've given me as Lily's father." Emily was quiet for a long moment, her gaze moving from the ring box to Nathan's face. "I can't give you an answer tonight," she finally said, "but I can tell you that I've seen the changes in you, real, consistent changes that go beyond initial enthusiasm or novelty. The man who drives Lily to school every morning, who attends every parent-teacher conference, who left a billion-dollar company to be present for first-grade presentations. That man is someone I'm growing to trust again." "That's all I can ask for," Nathan replied, his heart lighter than it had been in months. "Time and trust." Emily carefully placed the ring box in the drawer of the side table. Not a rejection, but a preservation of the possibility it represented. "Speaking of time," she said, her tone lightening, "it's getting late and tomorrow is Friday, which means Lily has show and tell and I need to help her finish her rock collection display," Nathan completed, grateful for the return to their comfortable routine. As they moved through the house, turning off lights and checking locks, the nightly ritual they had established in their shared home, Nathan felt a sense of peace that had once seemed unattainable. His definition of success had transformed completely. Where he had once measured achievements in acquisitions and market share, he now found fulfillment in a child's smile, a family dinner, and the promise of possibility that lay in a small velvet box. 2 months later, on a sunny Saturday morning, Nathan stood in the backyard assembling the new swing set that had been Lily's birthday request. The task was far removed from the complex business negotiations that had once filled his weekends, but he approached it with the same focused determination. "Need some help?" Emily's voice came from behind him. Nathan turned to find her holding 2 mugs of coffee, the morning sunlight catching something that sparkled on her left hand. His heart stopped, then raced as he realized what he was seeing, the intertwined gold bands with their purple center stone. Emily followed his gaze to her hand and smiled shyly. "I thought it was time," she said simply. Nathan stood, crossing to her with wonder in his expression. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure that I want to explore the possibility," she clarified, handing him a coffee mug. "Not rushing, not forgetting our history, but moving forward deliberately with Lily at the center of our decisions." "That sounds perfect to me," Nathan said, resisting the urge to pull her into his arms. They had come too far, rebuilt too carefully, to rush this next evolution. Instead, he gently touched the ring on her finger. "I've thought about this moment for months," he admitted, imagined 1,000 different scenarios. "And how does reality compare?" Emily asked, a hint of teasing in her voice. "Better," Nathan said honestly, "because it's real, it's earned. Not a fairy tale, but something more valuable, a family built on choice rather than obligation." From inside the house came the sound of Lily's voice calling for them both. "Mama, Papai, come see what I made!" "Coming, sweetie," Emily called back. Before they turned toward the house, she leaned forward and placed a soft, brief kiss on Nathan's lips, their first since reuniting. "I promise," she whispered against his mouth, "of possibilities to come." Together they walked into the house toward the daughter, who had drawn them back together against all odds. The child who, by medical standards, should never have existed, yet whose presence had reshaped 2 lives and created a family where once there had been only absence. In Lily's bedroom, they found her surrounded by art supplies, proudly displaying her latest creation, a drawing of their house with the new swing set already included. 3 figures playing in the yard beneath a benevolent sun. "It's us," she explained unnecessarily. "Our family." Nathan met Emily's gaze over their daughter's head, seeing in her eyes the same certainty he felt in his heart. The journey that had begun with a desperate phone call, "Papai, we don't have food," had led them here to abundance of a kind that couldn't be measured in dollars or possessions. A family, imperfect, unconventional, still finding its way, but undeniably, irrevocably real. Fin de Historia. Dear listeners, we hope you've been moved by Nathan, Emily, and Lily's journey from strangers to family. Their story reminds us that sometimes life's greatest miracles come when we least expect them, and that true wealth isn't measured in bank accounts, but in the love we share. If this story touched your heart, please consider subscribing to our channel for more emotional narratives that explore the complexities of human relationships. Hit the like button to let us know you enjoyed this journey, and share your thoughts in the comments below. For those who connected with this family's struggle and triumph, we've created a special playlist of similarly touching stories that you can find by clicking the link to your left. New stories are posted daily, each one carefully crafted to inspire, move, and remind us of what truly matters in life. Don't miss our upcoming content. Join our community today and become part of these extraordinary journeys of the heart.